drilled and well-oiled Curaçao machine. And we talked about this, Cello, that when you defend from the back or when you're one of the minnows, you have to get that confidence going. And it comes from good goalkeeping and then being solid defensively. Then you can start to get the confidence in the midfield and the attack.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's 15 saves, most in a World Cup game that didn't go into extra time. I like that stat. Very well done. We talked about it at the beginning. Finish your chances, right? Because you're not going to get a lot of them. Valencia had an opportunity to put that game away in the first 3 minutes. He didn't put it in the back of the net. There's a reason why defenders don't get paid much, because in order to win a game, you got to score goals. And the hardest position is always to find a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not sure Valencia is the guy anymore. Just watching today's game, watching the way he played, his movement, he's in by himself. He couldn't put it past the keeper. And all respect to the Broom, because he had a fantastic day. But this is a team that doesn't score a lot, Ecuador. They defend very well. They move the ball well, but they have a hard time with the last pass. They have a hard time finishing. So when you go to Curaçao, you say, you know what? Yeah. Well done. Well done. You defended, you were disciplined, you chased, you ran. There were guys at the end cramping. There were guys you could just see them physically dead. But they did the job. They got their point.
Yeah, there was a small period we see here on the momentum chart around the 30th minute when Curaçao came very close to getting the goal in this game as well. Enter Valencia, as you said, Marcelo had such a big chance in the first 2 minutes to get that opener. He didn't take it. There were all sorts of chances, all sorts of saves, all sorts of moments. But in the end, for Curaçao, a nation like this, to get this result, I mean, there was, all this talk after they shipped 7 to Germany about, should they even be here, the expanded format, all that stuff. And here they are delivering against a South American nation their first ever point. What would this mean to them to have achieved this after taking that hiding against Germany in the first game?
Yeah, I come from a small country in Sierra Leone, and I really see myself in this Curaçao team. I see some of my former teammates. We have one of them in the building, in Kai Kamara, in this Curaçao team. And you can only go as far as quality coaching. And that's why I'm a big advocate for getting the right coaches on the international stage. And Curaçao, they have an experienced coach in Dick Advocat. I know that they would not have gotten this result without his experience, without his poise, without his calm demeanor. And it just caught my eye that before a ball was kicked in the presser, they asked him, what's your approach? What's going to be your mentality in this match against Ecuador? And he said, we're going to make them work for every single ounce of quality that they do have in this team. But we're going to push them. And it really showed that they didn't back down from Ecuador. And we were looking in the first 20, 25 minutes when we were watching the game, and we were saying, wait, they're pressing Ecuador. Yeah. They're making life a bit unbearable. And if it wasn't for Eli Room snuffing out the likes of Enter Valencia, you could say that in the first 15 minutes, it was Curaçao being on the front foot a bit and making it a bit uncomfortable and making the likes of Pierre Nkapie, the likes of William Pacho look ordinary at different times. But full marks to Advocat and full marks to the team because they defended well. They showed a resilience that I don't think any person, unless you're a betting man or betting woman in Vegas, who if you put plus 800 on it, you're making a lot of money tonight.
Yeah, on a 0-0 draw, absolutely incredible.
We're going to betting. I don't know if you
we lose you there. By the way, when you described yourself as a big advocate for coaching, you were this close to getting the pun right of an advocate for Advocat. it was right there for you. But, Cello, for a nation like this to get a point at the World Cup, we saw the fans that were crying during the national anthem before a game they lost 7-1. Now they have something tangible that they lead this World Cup with. And I think anyone who watched that game tonight will see a country that gave an incredible account of themselves in going in both directions. Because as you say, they had moments going forward as well. They pressed them, but then they did the thing that every minnow has to do in a game like this, which is defend for their lives and have a goalkeeper turn in a great performance. And they got everything right, which we saw from Cabo Verde in their match against Spain.
When we talked about the extended format, everybody was a little concerned. I was concerned. I think we all were at first to see. Completely wrong. Completely wrong, because you know what? You are going to have blowouts. Big deal. You had them when Germany beat Brazil, right? And no one said anything about that. There hasn't been but one, really. And when you look at this format and you look at the heart and soul, you look at Curaçao's fans in tears celebrating, that's what the World Cup's about. That's what it's about. They're celebrating their country. they did something that no one thought they were doing. If you're betting plus 90, I don't know what you do. What a plus 100, I don't know what you would put down, but it just it makes the heart happy to see a team like this give everything they had and get a result. They got a result. They're celebrating. And when we talk about cultures coming together, we talk about everything you want in a World Cup. That was it. Between Cabo Verde and this, that's what we want. We want to see those kind of teams succeed, play well. And when they walk off the field, there's a brotherhood. They're much tighter now than they'll ever be for this next game.
And now, looking ahead here in this group, with Germany having beaten Ivory Coast as well, we'll get to that game a bit later on. Ecuador now on just the 1 point, and they're going to need to beat Germany in the final game of the group if they are to advance. Given their profligacy in front of goal, it is going to be a mountain to climb for them to beat Germany. You will say, though, they are now confirmed Germany as group winners. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Ivory Coast. So they can maybe make a lot of changes to their starting 11, so Ecuador could face a weakened Germany. But would you give Ecuador any chance of getting through with only the 1 point they have before they play Germany?
I'm very worried for this Ecuadorian national team right now because I think they're staring elimination right in the eye. They're staring it right in the face because there's an inherent lack of quality in the final third. You mentioned Enner Valencia. I'm actually going to point and put the microscope on a player that I was really disappointed in today and also in the previous match against Cote d'Ivoire. Where's Moises Caicedo? Moises Caicedo, a player that we proclaim as one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. He got bossed in the second half against Cote d'Ivoire. And apart from one of the passes, I think he played the pass over the top or through the lines to Enner Valencia, I didn't see enough personality from him. This is a big moment for the Ecuadorian national team. It's a massive moment for Moises Caicedo. I know he signed the big deal, signed the contract extension for Chelsea. That's the player that they need to step up. I know that the quality in the final third is a big question, Cello, but I look at him in particular, and he is symptomatic of the lack of personality and leadership that's in this Ecuadorian side right now.
I thought he did well against Ivory Coast, right, in the first game, because there was room. Curaçao dropped back into a low block. Where was he going to play? You know, there wasn't room for him to do what he likes to do. I was more disappointed in Plata. He didn't really do much. I mean, for me, when you start talking about, we can go down the list of players, and it was okay. Their balls go in the box. They're jumping for him. Great. But at what point, I never felt like they were dangerous. Caicedo should have gotten the ball and run at players. But this is a team that doesn't give up many goals. We've seen that. The only time they've scored 3 goals was against Guatemala in a friendly before the World Cup. Was that a real test for them playing?
No.
Not really. So when I look at this, they tied Morocco, they tied here, they tied there. This is a team I told you at the beginning. When you get one chance, they have to bury it because they're not a team that can get in there and create a lot of chances and finish a lot of chances. So I look at this team and I think there's one big problem. They defend well, but you need someone that can feed the ball, and Valencia needs to finish, or at this point, you got to try somebody else.
And, Cello, obviously, as a former defender, you would say that defense wins championships. But for Ecuador, their problem has been scoring goals. If you look at their last 15 games, they've drawn 10 of them. 5 of them have ended 0-0, and 5 of them have ended 1-1. So they're not even score draws. And so it's one of those things where we looked at their defensive record before the tournament because defense wins championships. But I think in some ways you overlook the fact that this is a team that that is anemic in front of goal, and it might end up costing them a spot in the knockout round, which is shocking.
Listen, defenses win you games and win you tournaments. So when I see what Curaçao did tonight and Cabo Verde does, I do. You know what? I salute. I salute that.
As a member of the Defenders Union?
No, I'm serious, because you know how hard we've played teams where you pack it in and you just pray and your goalkeeper has a great day. We block shots. They did a little bit of that, but God, they were good in their counterattack. They made me like, okay, I'm off my chair going, okay, here we go, let's go. You know what I mean? So it was good.
Let's not forget, Woody, that this game, for as many shots and opportunities as Ecuador had, it could have all gone to waste because Juninho Bacuna, I don't know who he spun, but whoever he spun needs to go to the hospital and get their knees checked, because that was one of the highlight moments of the game. And you could just see,
so close to getting the goal.
You could just see the whites of every Ecuadorian fan's eyes. I feel for the Ecuadorian fans that traveled all the way to the middle of America today.
Who played a great atmosphere in Philly and today in Kansas City were awesome.
But you got to say, listen, they didn't play bad. They didn't play. They just couldn't finish. They controlled it. If you watch percentages, they dominated possession. Okay.
Yeah, dominated shots, every statistic.
They had everything. So they played well. But again, in our sport, you have to score to win. If you can't score,
Frustrating day at the office, Paul.
Well, it looks like Saudi Arabia are going to set up like that. George Donis spoke in the week when he first got the job about his team, and he knows that he's got a set of defensive-minded players, but he said, I can only play a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 because that's what the players play in their league and that's what they're used to. I need some time to work on a back five, which is my preferred setup, and that's exactly how they've set up today. So it looks like Spain may have to be patient.
Here is Cucurella. Passes the ball out wide, and early cross was blocked, headed out towards Porro. Porro passes the ball to Lamine Yamal, and listen to the excitement in the stadium as the teenager already shows a little glimpse of his trickery. He's away, he delivers the cross, and the flying header out by Saudi Arabia. You could feel the energy as soon as the ball went to Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, it could be a long afternoon for the Saudi Arabian left-back, Moteb Al-Harbi. That's twice he's turned him inside out already, Lamine Yamal.
The ball from Cucurella went too far ahead of Baena over on that far side. Well, they completed 734 passes against Cape Verde. They only had more in a World Cup in Morocco in 2022 with 926. They had 74% of the possession. We know how this game is going to go.
It looks like it's set up like that already, but I think the key is what Guillaume touched on before the game is the pace of the ball. Move the ball quickly, pull the defenders out of place. Don't just have possession for possession's sake, rotate possession, but move the ball quickly forward and with a purpose.
Spain play the ball back to their goalkeeper, Unai Simon, and then Porro collects it on this near side, looks for a diagonal ball over the head of Oyarzabal. It will reach Baena. Baena enters the penalty area, cuts inside, shot charge down, up in the air and behind for a corner kick. Spain have started very bright.
Yeah, good sharp play, mixing it up that time. Ball over the top from Pedro Porro, eludes everybody. Baena on the right-hand side, cuts in on his right foot and deflected out for a corner down on this near touchline. A good, positive start for Spain.
Lamine Yamal walks over with the ball at his feet to take the corner kick. Actually went to take a short one, feigned to do so. Saudi Arabia have got everybody bar one inside their own penalty area. They do take it short. And then it's given back towards Yamal. Clips it in and then cleared. That was Albrecht, the striker, who was back there on defensive duties to get the ball away. They're going to have to soak up a lot of this pressure from Spain as Olmo picks it up now on that far side and Cucurella's ahead of him.
Yeah, they can't be overly defensive, but that's the way they're set up. It's going to be a long game for them if they just sit defending like this, because at the moment, very early stages, but it is attack against defence.
Porro. Yamal, right corner of the area, sends over the cross. It's deep. Baena actually does well to keep the ball in play with a header. And then in the end, it was caught by the goalkeeper, Alouais, diving forward. Are you surprised, incidentally, that Mohamed Alouais was picked for this World Cup?
Yes, in a way. I mean, he's the most experienced goalkeeper in their lineup. I mean, I think he's 61 caps, 62 caps. He's got experience at the top clubs. He's played at Al Hilal, Al Ahly. But I think when you look at his performances this season, there, Al Akidi, you would suggest, who's at Al Nassr, he's changed, chopped and changed. He's been in the team this season because the Brazilian goalkeeper Bento was left out at times, so he's probably played more at the top level in key games.
Yamal is going to shoot. He was 30 yards out. Remember that fine goal that he scored at the Euros 2 years ago? It was on this side, actually, probably further out on this occasion with his left-footed effort. But he's already been involved in the thick of the action, and we've only been playing 4 minutes.
Doesn't lack confidence, does he? I mean, you can hear the noise in the stadium when he gets the ball. As soon as he cuts inside, he was a long, long way out there, but he had the confidence to take it on with his left foot. He looks sharp.
3 of his last 4 goals have actually been scored against France for Spain. As at the back, it's Al Amri who clears and downfield. He got the goal, of course, against Uruguay. For Saudi Arabia, who are looking to advance to the knockout stages since they did so on their World Cup debut, which was in the United States back in 1994. At the back,
he's had a good year, Al Amri. He's won the league with Al Nassr this season after winning the league last year with Al Ittihad. Not many players do that with different clubs in the Saudi Pro League.
A key defender for them, and very experienced. 0-0, 5 Live. Also available on the BBC Sounds app. Olmo forward, headed out by Al Tabakti. at the heart of that Saudi defence. This is live on BBC One, incidentally, so it gives you the option for every BBC commentary where you can watch and listen to 5 Live. It's available through the iPlayer and the BBC Sport website, and I've got to agree with Guillaume as well, that snazzy predictor on the BBC Sport website that basically picks out all 495 possible combinations where you can see who's likely to progress from all the groups is definitely worth a look if you haven't done so already. Yamal to Porro, right-hand side. Porro's cross, cleared first time. Alton Baxi helps it on. It's going to be picked up by Lamine Yamal on this near side. 6 minutes played, 5 Live, 0-0. New Zealand won the second test at the Oval earlier by 253 runs. England all out for 209. And Cerundolo of Argentina won at Queen's in that sounded like a real thriller over 3 hours. As Rodri for Spain passes the ball out wide. This is Pedri running forward. The ball chipped by Baena, blocked by the white shirts of Saudi Arabia. Now are they able to get out? They might, you know. And the ball is played out to this near side. And making good progress is Al Harbi, the left back. He's carried the ball back in field now. And it was Salam Al-Dosari who, in the end, nothing really came of it, and it's bowled out by Simon, the Spanish keeper.
They're going to have to be brave on the counter-attack. Saudi Arabia are sitting very, very deep. 2 full-backs, the wing-backs are not going to have to sit in that back 5. They're going to have to try and get forward like Al Harbi did that time. He's got the pace to get around the outside of Al-Dosari, but we just haven't seen any of it as yet.
Cucurella to the former Manchester City player, Aymeric Laporte. In fact, he left City to go to Saudi, didn't he?
Al Nassr. He only left Al Nassr, and then Al Nassr, Ronaldo's team, went and won the league this year after he'd left.
Now plays for Athletic Bilbao. This is Pedri. Porro inverted. I thought he was going to shoot. Passes the ball out, right corner of the area. Lamine Yamal with a cross. It's a deep one into the penalty area. Headed out by the Saudi defence. This is Cucurella. Cucurella has Baena. Links back up with him into the left-hand side of the penalty area, and he's got a corner kick. They're pressing, but the Saudi defence continues to stand firm. 7.5 minutes played, 0-0.
I think the 2 full-backs will be key for Spain in an offensive point of view as well. We know how good they both are defensively, Porro and Cucurella, but actually overlapping the wingers, trying to overload in the areas where they get some joy.
So corner kick to Spain. We've been playing for 8 minutes. Far side to left. Spain play from left to right as we look. It's floated out. Olmo on the volley, hits it first time right-footed, and he's skied it, and it will go out for a goal kick. Incidentally, just listening to Russell and Annabelle Croft, it reminds me that Wimbledon starts a week tomorrow. So Wimbledon and the World Cup, the perfect combination on 5 Live, your home of live sports. 8 minutes played, Paul.
Yeah, it's been a really good start for Spain, pretty much in the same manner as the Cape Verde game was. Dominating possession, having over 75% of the possession, having good possession and good territorial advantage. But this Saudi Arabian team, they're here to defend. They're here clearly to play on the counter-attack. It's not a back 3, it's a clear back 5 who are sitting very deep and saying to Spain, go on then, break us down. But from that point of view, you just wonder, have they got a plan B? Because the way that this game's going, it's only a matter of time before Spain break the deadlock. Today
is the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is going to feel like a really long day for Saudi Arabia. They're going to have to keep their concentration and have to be very, very organised. Laporte feeds it forward. Bayena's first time cross from the left-hand side, flicked away. Cucurella can't get there. Headed out by Al-Kabari in the Saudi penalty area, but Spain just keep picking up the loose balls. This is Porro, they work it now towards Yamal. Yamal enters the area, back towards Porro, and he shoots right-footed. It was rising, it's off target, goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, Marc Cucurella does really well there. He cuts in off the left-hand side, which creates the overlap of the space for Baena on that left-hand side. The 2 wing players are going to be really key to Spain. Another shot from distance, this time from Porro, harmlessly over the bar, but they're getting closer.
When I asked Guillaume about Luis de la Fuente celebrating his 61st birthday today, remind you of when I'm 64, which of course he was yesterday, will you still need me? And if he keeps feeding them, then they will need him, because the under-19 Euros the under-21 Euros, and so much success with the seniors as the cross is fired in, and sliding in is Lamine Yamal, the youngest ever goal scorer at the Euros, joins an elite group because he now is the 9th player to score in a World Cup before the age of 19. The cross was fired in from the left, and there was Yamal, much to the delight of the Spanish support here. 11 minutes played, Spain are ahead 1-0.
And you can't say it hasn't been coming. They've been banging on the door, Spain, and it's now finally opened. He won't get a much easier one, Lamine Yamal, but it was Oyarzabel's ball across the box. It was an excellent ball into the box. They win the possession back quickly, Spain, and they're very, very direct. Oyarzabel gets himself in a really good position on the level of the 18-yard box, hammers the ball across the 6-yard box, and arriving completely unmarked at the far post, Lamine Yamal taps it into an empty net, and that's the start that Spain wanted and, by the way, deserve.
18 years, 343 days. He's the 8th youngest scorer at a World Cup. He actually now beats Lionel Messi. And you talk about that elite group of players. It includes Pele, Lionel Messi, Michael Owen, and Lamine Yamal is up there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in that conversation now, isn't he? We're looking at a world global superstar right in front of us, and still so young.
There is a very energetic Spanish commentator behind us. He was energetic, he was loud, even before the game. He'll have just gone into overdrive, I would imagine.
Can you not hear him through your cans?
Yeah, I
wouldn't be surprised if our listeners can hear him down the line as well.
I think they'll probably hear him in Madrid and Seville and other such beautiful cities back in Spain. But 12 minutes played, Spain are ahead. Try and bring in Guillem if we can as well, who's sitting just alongside us, because Guillem, Spain have made a positive start, and there will be no frustration, it would seem, here today.
That's it. It's relief, I think. We were playing the last game and we're playing this game, because on the back of the last game there were, you have to say it, doubts. And Lamine told us, nah, just don't doubt whatsoever.
Here is Yamal once again. He passes the ball forward and the goalkeeper has to swat it away as he dives down, and then the loose ball fired over by Pedri. This is going to be a really difficult game for Saudi Arabia because they are being swamped.
Overpowered, completely overpowered. Spain have got the right attitude, the application. They've got that goal, but they want more. They're closing down, they're winning possession back in dangerous areas. That time it was Lamal. The goalkeeper does reasonably well, Alois, but all he can do is palm it to Pedri, who very unusually for him makes a real mess of it on his left foot and puts it over the bar. But again, it's another attempt towards a Saudi Arabian goal.
Saudi Arabia are in no hurry whatsoever to take this clearance away downfield. It's brief respite, I guess, for Mohamed Alois. In blue away towards our right. He's actually sent everybody in white downfield as he kicks it long, because the back line, they're just being forced back at every opportunity. Here is Rodri picking the ball up right of the centre circle. Porro on the halfway line to Kabasi. His forward ball is to Pedri, being tracked and followed by Al-Kabari. Out towards Cucurella. Laporte working it, passing it quickly. Here is Olmo, had such an outstanding Euros when, of course, they were champions in Germany 2 years ago. Now the ball is passed out wide. Baena once again links up with Cucurella. Cucurella delivers it in low, blocked. Just such a nice balance about Spain, so easy on the eye, but there's a chance to break here for Saudi Arabia. Al-Kabari, though, couldn't find Albrakan, the lone striker. Easy to see how he's going to get isolated today, Paul.
No, they just can't get any support. They can't get any possession whatsoever, Saudi Arabia. Those white shirts, it's almost pedestrian-like at times. They're just so resigned to defending and sitting in this defensive shape. Albrakan is going to be a very lonely figure unless this changes.
The incentive to be the winners of Group H, likely to be Austria in the last 32. They do have to play Uruguay still in Guadalajara next Friday as their final group game. They are 1-0 up here, and Baena goes with a curling right-footed effort that was off target and sails out for a goal kick.
He's can't overstate how one-sided this is. They've been impressive, Spain. They've started really well. That draw against Cape Verde certainly livened them into action. I mean, they've been fluid, they've been easy on the eye. Granted, you look at the quality of the opponents, but actually they've been a very good start to this game, Spain.
15 minutes played. They're ahead by a goal to nil. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got Belgium-Iran to come at 8 o'clock in the company of Conor McNamara and Dion Dublin. We've got the final round of the US Open Golf as well, with Ian Carter and the team to squeeze in between that and then Uruguay-Cape Verde at 11, which is also on BBC One. As Saudi Arabia over on that far side, trailing by a goal to nil, with a long free kick up towards Albrekan, unable to keep it with Saudi Arabia, and Kubasi will go back to Unai Simon, all in green. Passes the ball forward. Laporte, aware that he was about to be pressed, plays it back, and then it's with Porro now on this near side to right. Rodri finds Laporte, space for him to run into, and now as those red shirts advance into the Saudi Arabia half, Laporte comes to a standstill just outside the centre circle. Lamine Yamal controls it. Lovely first touch as well. Able now to swing over the cross. It was an in-swinger. Don't think that Olmo running in was that far away from getting on the end of that.
No, it's a lovely play again from Lamal down on this near touchline. Cuts in on his left foot. He swings a beautiful ball in. Too close to the goalkeeper, but it was another half a chance.
They've given the ball away. And this is Oyarzabal to shoot. Keeper has to make the save, and made it well. He was low down to his right to beat the ball away. That might have dipped a little bit for Alois.
No, you do just wonder how many this is going to be at this stage. I mean, Saudi Arabia are offering absolutely nothing in a forward offensive way. It's a decent save by Alois. Oyarzabal, 20-25 yards out. Good strike down to the goalkeeper's bottom right-hand corner.
Spain's biggest win in a World Cup was actually in Qatar when they beat Costa Rica by 7-0. But they are dominating, they're looking a threat as a Mexican wave sweeps around this stadium here in Atlanta. 8 games in total, and their final game will be the second semi-final to be played here on the 15th of July.
There is an advantage for Spain playing in a stadium like this. Favourable conditions, obviously we know the heat is a factor, you know, in other places, but actually for Spain to have their first 2 group games here, I think is a huge advantage. I was in Dallas last week to cover England's game, exactly the same, 20-22 degrees inside a air-controlled stadium. It's a lot more pleasant than being outside.
It is, yeah, it's a very muggy day here in Atlanta. One of 4 stadiums that will be played under the roof, one of 3 of the 16 venues that has air conditioning. And Spain are looking for Oyarzabal once again, and he latches onto it, doesn't go for goal. He cutely played the ball back left-footed, so it ran across the edge of the 6-yard area, but nobody had anticipated that, and Saudi Arabia were able to clear. But every time Spain are coming forward, they look a real threat.
Yeah, the goalkeeper there, Alois, he didn't read the through ball whatsoever. I think if Oyarzabal would have just looked up and seen the goalkeeper on rushing, he might have gone for goal instead of cutting it across the 18-yard box. But they do look good, Spain.
Paul Robinson is with us here. BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app, as Lamine Yamal just leans into the back of Al-Harbi, the left back, and that will be a goal kick for Saudi Arabia. I would think from Saudi Arabia already they might be looking at damage limitation.
Well, I think that's the way they started the game. I mean, in this back 5, they're really struggling to get up the pitch because the defence is so deep. There's no support for the strikers. The midfield are sat on top of the defence, and they're just so defensively susceptible at the moment.
Given the ball away again, they've got to be better in that area of the field. They're already under severe pressure, and Spain go out of play for a Saudi Arabia throw on that far side, but 2 or 3 times they've been sloppy.
Yeah, they've cost themselves the possession. When they do get it, the turnover is very, very quick, because to Spain's credit, they're pressing high, they're trying to win the ball back, and they've started at a really good tempo, and it looks like a tempo that they want to keep up. It's important for Spain now to go and get that second goal, because they are having so much dominance, you know, at this stage in the game. De La Fuente will want his side to go in 2-3 goals up at half-time.
I actually enjoyed the game when Saudi played Uruguay. It was a very entertaining 1-1, but Alois made 9 saves, as Spain could be in further here. This is Oyarzabal into the area and required 2 defenders to curve his run, and behind it goes for a corner kick.
Good piece of defending there. I think it was Lajami. Spain once again turnover possession. Olmo that time it was. Oyarzabal once again gets inside the 18-yard box, and Frali Lajami, a last-ditch tackle, gives away another corner, but real dominance from Spain.
The 30-year-old defender coming into the side, one of 2 changes that George Adonis made. Spain are ahead by a goal to 0. You're listening to 5 Live. In comes the corner, flicked on at the near post, drops towards Olmo. He's dragged that wide. Laporte is there, and Spain have got a second. Oyarzabal. They never dealt with the danger, and Oyarzabal was there, close range, poked it home with ease. Spain increased their lead. Saudi Arabia have problems. Spain 2, Saudi Arabia 0.
It's just awful defending. It really is poor defending from Saudi Arabia. Corner comes in, Olmo gets a free volley at the far post. He actually scuffs his volley. Saudi Arabia have 2 or 3 chances to clear the ball. Olmo's scuffed ball across the 18-yard box. It finds Oyarzabal at the far post. His first touch is excellent. No Saudi Arabian defenders anywhere near him, and he pokes it into the net. This is so easy for Spain at the moment.
Joint top scorer in qualifying with 6 goals, and he's up and running with his first goal and his first World Cup finals for Mikel Oyarzabal. England fans will remember him as he got the winning goal in Berlin in that Euro final, in that 2-1 success. And he's just going from strength to strength, really, in the national side of Spain. That is his 26th goal in his 55th appearance.
Yeah, they're just having a quick look. They're checking the VAR to see if he was offside at the far post, as Olmo's scuff shot found its way in. I think it's been checked and it's cleared. Yeah, Spain are 2 up. Just watching it again there, the defending from Saudi Arabia was so poor. The number 9, Fares Albrican, had a real opportunity to clear that at the far post, made a complete mess of it, didn't do anything with it.
So that takes him level with Emilio Butrigueno, 26 goals. Fernando Morientes, his 27, is next in his sights. Fernando Hierro, actually, who's here today watching, got 29, he's 6th, and then there's a little bit more of a gap to David Silva, who's 5th in the all-time scoring charts for Spain with 35. David Villa is top with 59. But Spain's dominance, as once again they win the ball with Rodri, their hunger, they just keep on coming. In comes the cross from Yamal. Baena will try and retrieve it on the far side, and actually does well to keep the ball in play. Left-hand side, level with the area, leading 2-0. Baena, edge of the area. Passes the ball now, here is Porro. They've just got options everywhere. Porro now with a cross. Cucurella plays it back. Olmo with a header. Oyarzabal's there. Brilliantly worked by Spain. That was like a basketball team. They just kept it alive. Saudi Arabia didn't know where to go. And Oyarzabal, with a finishing touch from close range, superbly worked. Spain are 3-0 up.
It's a masterclass. It's an absolute joy to watch. Spain team in full flow. The tricks, the flicks, the passes, absolutely ripping the Saudi Arabian defence to pieces. They're almost wanting to score at will. It's Pedro Porro's ball into the far post to his fellow wing-back, Marc Cucurella, into Olmo. Flicks it to Oyarzabal at the far post, left foot into the top corner.
Guillaume, I've just said there it was like a basketball team, the way they were just popping it off, the understanding.
Oh, we just the whole game is magnificent from the moment that they decide to move the ball quicker. So they're not giving the ball to the one that's next to them, they're giving the ball to the one that's furthest away, or the one that's making a run. So that's stretching Saudi Arabia from the beginning. There's more aggression with and without the ball. The team is more direct, more balls into the box. From the beginning, you saw that it was like, shoot, go for it, finish the actions, and things will happen. So, Ian, Spain has landed.
Oh, yes. Spain are flying. They say they've landed, they are flying. And he scored a hat-trick against Andorra in June 24. That's his 4th brace since, as Oyarzabal has got 2 goals. We've got a drinks break here in Atlanta. A reminder, we've still got commentary to come from Belgium, Iran at 8, the Gulf, Uruguay, Cape Verde at 11, and then New Zealand, Egypt is overnight. But let's hear from Guillem a little bit more, because you say they've landed. You're beaming here in the United States.
Oh, it's just, it's enjoyable, but I think it comes from the relief of having seen a side that were not themselves in the first game. But there is a main difference. Lamine asked for the ball from the beginning.
Yeah.
He said, just give it to me. I'll show you out. And from the moment, I know you were following closely, from the moment he comes into the pitch for the warm-up, he's saying hello to his family. He comes on the screen, he says hello to everybody. It was like he was in the patio of his school, in the schoolyard, just playing with his mates. And that feeling was absolutely needed, because everybody else haven't got that responsibility, number one. I mean, you see the face of Lamine everywhere, but also the capability of changing the dynamic of a game like that, because he's got the talent and he's got the personality for it. And he's 18.
I know. It is frightening, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's scary, but he doesn't mind. So in this interview I told you before the game that he gave El País, he wasn't prepared. He wasn't going to talk for a while. And then he thought, like, no, just give me the microphone. So instead of a press conference, went to two journalists that he knows, and he was like, do you know the problem with you journalists is that you want to know who's going to win the World Cup now? And okay, we just got a draw, but so did Portugal, so did others. It's not a problem. Argentina won, France won. Do you think the final is going to be Argentina-France? This is an 18-year-old telling us off. But beyond that, he was hungry to make an impact, because he's looked around and he saw Mbappé doing his thing, and Haaland doing his thing, and Messi doing his thing, and he's like, oh, when is it me? But he's got about 60 minutes in him. He would like to play the whole game, but doctors are saying, give him 60 minutes. To be honest, he can rest now if he wants to.
That's Guillem Balaguer, who's with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, it's important, the point that you make there about managing players' minutes, because if you are to go all the way and you are to win this tournament, there's going to be 8 games in 32 days. So managing the players' minutes, who's obviously coming back from an injury, who is so key to a team and so important that it can have such an impact. I don't think we'll see him, he won't see out the full game today. And I think the manager, if they do get another 1 or 2 goals, will have the option of making a number of changes to rotate his team.
The giant circular screens that overhang the pitch high up here in the roof, so you've got an angle of watching a television screen wherever you sit inside this stadium. They've been treated to a band that is playing just behind the goal away towards our right-hand side. But my word, Spain have got rhythm.
Never ceases to amaze me, how excited people get when they see themselves on the television in the screen. It's fantastic.
Spain are leading by 3-0 against Saudi Arabia in Group H. Here is Yamal. Saudi Arabia just can hardly get a touch. What are the possession stats? Well, they've had 32%. That actually is more than I would have envisaged.
Well, I think this back 5 system clearly isn't working for them. They look like they've never played a back 5 system. The manager said that this is what he wanted to play. I mean, he only had 59 days with the team before the World Cup because of Hervé Renard sacking and George Donis coming into the side. So this is something that's very new to them, that they've worked on. None of them play this at club level, and they look like a team who have never played the system. In fact, they've just come back off the hydration break and they've gone back to a 4-4-2. He's immediately changed the system to a system that they know.
Yes, George Jonas, formerly of Blackburn, Sheffield United and Huddersfield. As they're on the attack once again, Baena with the cross, that was cut out, goes back towards Baena. Cucurella makes himself available. Stopped though by Abdul Hamed, the right back. But they clear it, only goes as far as Olmo. There is just no let-up from this Spain side. As soon as they lose the ball, they win it back. Olmo tries to wriggle away. Pedri tries to play it forward, blocked. The white shirts, though, are being forced back. Here is Yamal once again. And his, on this occasion, left-footed curling effort is off target. I think the referee's going to... No, it's gone goal kick. Porro's down at the moment.
Yeah, good play again from Lamal. Lamal, great cut inside. But once again, just no real end product.
There was a yellow card shown there as well. And that was to Salem Al-Dassori, who is the captain who has been booked for the foul on Pedro Porro. But it will be a goal kick to Saudi Arabia.
Frustration from the Saudi Arabian captain. You know, he's their best player, but he isn't getting into the game at all. He's now gone up front alongside Faris Al-Brikhan, and they're going to try and do something different, the Saudis. But all they're doing, they're going long, they're losing possession, and once again, they're straight back under pressure.
This is only his 5th game in charge, Donis, who actually played with Chris Sutton at Blackburn Rovers when they're in the Premier League. As Yamal picks it up, Porro motors past him on the overlap near side the right. Yamal, though, hangs on to the ball and then passes it to a very casual Rodri, just strokes it towards Laporte to come forward outside the centre circle. Kubasi. Rodri once again on the ball, the Spanish captain in field, Pedri. They are easing their way through this game. They're able just to play at will, pass the ball as it then goes astray towards Olmo on the edge of the halfway line. But the game is won. They're 3-0 up, and bearing in mind they've then got Uruguay to come next week. This now is the perfect scenario for Spain.
There is an obvious gulf in class, there really is. I mean, Spain are by far the better side, just the way that they're moving the ball. They're so pleasing on the eye, the rotation that they've got, the understanding that they've got. They're playing narrow, they go out wide, the fullbacks are overlapping. They've been an extremely good watch for 30 minutes.
24 minutes by the time they'd scored the 3-goal represents the earliest that Spain have ever taken a 3-goal lead in a World Cup match. The previous quickest came against Brazil in 1934 when they were 3-0 up after 28 minutes.
Do you remember it well? Did you do that game?
No, but I remember John Murray told me all about it. 13 minutes to go to half-time. They're 3-0 up. Cucurella, that was a heavy first touch. Gives an opportunity for Spain with Nasser Al-Dosuri to pass the ball out wide to that far side, the right. Then it goes back to Al-Amri, and he will take no chances, the central defender, back towards Alouais, who was overworked against Uruguay in the opening game, but he's been really under pressure, and the only work that he's had to do so far in this 32 minutes or so is to pick the ball out of his net on 3 occasions, and the way that Spain are playing, he might do so on a few more yet.
Well, I think you look at goal difference as well. You look at the goals that Spain could go on and score in this game. Saudi Arabia have definitely changed the shape to a back 4 where they do look more comfortable, but they're still having no joy whatsoever. They can't get the ball through the lines, they can't keep possession, they can't move the ball forward. If they do have passes in and around the back, it goes forward and then they lose it straight away. Once again, Spain win back possession.
The voice of Paul Robinson on BBC Radio 5 Live. 20 years ago, he was playing in a World Cup for England. He was England's #1. He's now part of our coverage. And England-Ghana on Tuesday night. We'll have commentary of that from 8 o'clock here on 5 Live. Yamal comes to a standstill, able to pick out Olmo. Pedri, 30 yards out, little chip back out towards Yamal on the right, dances his way into the box, goes on the outside, drags the ball towards the byline. Watching him is mesmerising.
So said Motab Al-Harbi, the left-back for Saudi Arabia as well.
Yeah, he's got twisted blood, has Al-Harbi. But an opportunity maybe for a rare foray forward. Salam Al-Dosuri was the one they were trying to get away. As Paul was saying, he's now up alongside Al-Brikhan, but the work off the ball is equally as impressive for Spain. They are dominating in every aspect.
Yeah, they are. They're putting the foot on the pedal. They're controlling the game as and when they want to. They just move forward in waves. The Saudi Arabian team is so submissive and so quite happy not to have the ball. They're spending a lot of time running without the ball, and that's obviously always a lot harder. It's not been an enjoyable half for them.
Ball passed out wide. Baena provides the width. Here is Pedri. Oyarzabal, who's on a hat-trick, just waits, lurks just outside the D. They pass it along. Porro joins the attack. They pass it towards Yamal, back in field towards Porro. Yamal makes the run. Then the little gets the ball from Porro. There's a little step over, passes the ball back, toying and teasing with Saudi Arabia. And the first time passing as well, that was Pedri. Oh, I thought he had his legs taken away from him. And that's a very, very ambitious effort from midway through his own half, from Al-Amri, who got the goal against Uruguay to give them the lead in that 1-1 draw, but he was looking to lob Unai Simon from midway through his own half.
Does that go down as a shot on target? He scored a couple towards the end of the season, Al-Amri. He's a danger in the opposition's box, but not from inside his own box trying to shoot.
Oh, the keeper's given it straight away. Oh, and he was almost beaten. That was Oyarzabal. What a way that would have been to bring up your hat-trick. Left-hand side of the penalty area. It was a gift from the goalkeeper, but he instinctively went to chip him. It was a tight angle, and he's just clipped the crossbar.
What's the goalkeeper doing? I mean, the ball's passed back to him. He's got it on a side foot. He should just clear it. He actually looks at Oyarzabal and passes it straight to him. He's nowhere near his goal. Outside of his boot, Oyarzabal clips the top of the crossbar. Open goal, but a really good technique from Oyarzabal, but an absolute gift from Ali El-Oweis.
They're all over the place, Saudi Arabia.
They look like a team who've never played in this formation, and they've never played with one another.
Here is Yamal. Drifts into a central area. Shoots, curls, beaten away by Oweis. Picks up by Baena, whose first touch let him down and allowed Abdul Hamid to get the ball away. No word of a lie, Spain could be 5 or 6 up here. Here is Porro, and still they keep on coming. This is Yamal once again. They are enjoying themselves.
Brilliant from Spain, they really are. I mean, you run out of superlatives. They're just a joy to watch. The intricacy, the movement, the cutting edge that they've got that wasn't there in the first game. This is exactly the performance that Luis de la Fuente will have asked from his team after the draw with Cape Verde.
When they opened the scoring against Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, it was the first time in 17 games at a World Cup that they'd done so since Belgium in 1994. As the ball goes long for Al Juwayr, but Simon comes out of his penalty area. This is where actually he'll be glad just to get involved. I mean, you'll have been in this position where, as a keeper, your colleagues, your outfield players are dominating. You need to try and keep yourself alert. So just to get involved for Unai Simon as he came out midway through his penalty area just to get a touch.
He holds a very high line because Spain, the defensive line, they're only picking up Faris Albracan. They're not having to sit deep or on top of the goalkeeper. And you see his movement. He's well out of his box, but he's keeping himself tuned into the game by taking his position up to the ball wherever it is on the field. And a good reading of the through ball from him there.
How did you keep your concentration levels?
It's hard. It really is hard because it's a lonely position, and you know there's a lot going on in the stadium. You do focus on the game. That's what I used to do. Wherever the ball was, I'd still communicate.
Olmo bursts his way through, partially cleared. Yamal picks it up once again. He waits because Pedri is actually coming back from an offside position. Here is Pedri, right corner of the area. Porro was an option. Olmo's an option. Back it goes towards Yamal. Porro has stayed high on this near side, the right, passing the ball so quickly. Here is Rodri, Yamal, little touch, Pedri waits, back towards Yamal. They get a foot into the challenge with El-Harbi, but then it's picked back again by Rodri. Cucurella passes the ball out wide. Baena now, 7 minutes to go to half-time. There's Rodri. Pedri on the half-turn, Porro. There is no let-up. Porro makes a run off the ball, chips the ball deep inside the penalty area. Cucurella, with that mop of hair, will go across to the far side to collect it. This is Baena. Now it's with Rodri. And they're switching play quickly too.
They're so deep, the Saudi Arabian defence. I mean, Spain are, 25 yards from goal? And nearly everybody through a Saudi Arabian shirt is on the edge of or inside their own 18-yard box. And they just can't get it clear. They can't get any type of possession whatsoever. Spain have been very impressive.
El-Harbi was able to stop the ball reaching Yamal again from the attempted chip into the penalty area. Here is Pedri turning, running away from Nasser Al-Dosuri. And this now is Oyarzabal dropping deep. Looks to carve the ball forward towards Cucurella. Oyarzabal then won it back midway through the Saudi Arabian half and still looked towards Cucurella. 6 minutes to go to the break. Spain leads Saudi Arabia by 3-0. This is Kubasi. Running forward. Rodri, forward of the centre circle, chips a diagonal ball out towards Cucurella, bobbles away off his left knee. Baena opens up, chips the ball into the box, and then that drops over the head of Dani Olmo and out for a goal kick. 3-0 Spain.
It's just about taking care for Spain in and around the final third. The movement, the understanding of the players, the overlap there from Cucurella. Baena cutting inside once again, looks for Olmo at the far post, just overdoes it, but again it's far too easy.
Well, Lamine Yamal had 19 minutes in that opening game off the bench. Guillaume has already told us he's expected to play no more than an hour. Also, they're looking to try and manage the minutes of Nico Williams, who also has been hampered by a hamstring problem. And Ferran Torres and Jeremy are actually already warming up. I mean, that's the beauty of this position that Luis de la Fuente is in, because I think everybody's aware that once these group stages are over, if you are going to go all the way in this competition, the matches are going to be intense in the knockout stages.
Yeah, the pace has certainly dropped off in this game. The Spain team, when they're in possession, that's when they go forward, and they go forward quickly, but they're in no real rush.
Aljuea holds the ball up, plays it outside to the right, and the cross comes in. It was an awkward one, actually, from Abdulhamid, the right back. And that's probably the first real concern that Spain have had from a defensive point of view. But now they can come forward again with Olmo over the halfway line. The go-to ball is this sensation of a teenager in Lamine Yamal, but now at a walking pace. It is Rodri. Goes short and square. Pedri to Cucurella to Baena. Spain have been so impressive.
I'll be glad when they turn around so I can look the other way in the second half. They've been camped in this half, haven't they? Absolutely camped on the edge of the Saudi Arabian box.
Here is Yamal. Porro. Already they link up so well on this right-hand side. Lamine Yamal feigns to go one way, the ball doesn't move. And watching intently was Al-Harbi, the left-back. Rodri, lovely little flick. Oyarzabal went for the first-time finish. Might get it again, and he's dragged it wide. Left-footed, almost says, why didn't you just pull it back to me? It was a matter of yards away from Oyarzabal.
Brilliant piece of play again from Spain. It's so easy for them. It's Rodri into Pedri, and a little Cruyff flick through to the centre forward. He drags it wide with his left foot. It's his first touch, actually, with his right foot. Really good play again, though. They're moving the ball so quickly. I mean, the intricacy of the passing, the speed of the passing. And everyone always says, a manager always says, the ball moves faster than players. And that's exactly the way that Spain are playing.
De La Fuente will, I would imagine, just be purring. The birthday boy, he couldn't have wished for a better present for his 65th birthday today. 322 passes that Spain have attempted so far in this game. They are 3-0 up.
And what's more impressive is that stat that's up there about your passes. 92% of them have been completed.
They have been a joy to watch here as you listen on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app. Closing stages of the first half. Saudi Arabia unable to get, I think it was Abdulhamid forward on that occasion. It goes out for a goal kick that's already taken by Unai Simon. And Porro looks for the run of Yamal, headed away though on this occasion by Al-Tambakti. Picked up by Saudi Arabia in the midfield by Nasser Al-Dosuri. Al-Harbi. Al-Brekan holds the ball up. Now with Salem Al-Dosuri. And they get a corner kick as they work their way downfield. Saudi Arabia, a rare corner.
That's better from them. You know, they've got to show some kind of forward intent. Al-Dosuri and Al-Brekan have been very, very lonely figures. They've had no possession whatsoever, especially not in these type of areas. It was a good 1-2 down on this near touchline, and they've got their corner.
Corner kick. The vagaries of this stand, you actually can't see the near side. But Salem Al-Dosuri is the player who's going to take the no, in fact it will be Aljuea who's going to take it on this near side. So this should be an in-swinger. Plays it to the edge of the area, then they lose it, and then the break is on. Spain get it up towards Yamal, short of the halfway line. But just running back, the central defender, Al-Tambakti, was able to take it away off his toes with the back pass.
Such a poor corner, an opportunity. They had very, very little opportunity, little to none, and they get a chance there, Saudi Arabia, to put a corner in to try and have a little spell of possession or try and create a chance. The three big central defenders go up into the box, they play it short and they lose it and don't even complete the pass.
Their heaviest defeat in a World Cup was actually in 2002 when they were beaten 8-0 by Germany in Sapporo. They are fortunate that the scoreline is only 3. The chances that Spain have created in this first half. Here is Olmo. Lovely little take on the by the right boot, just over the halfway line. Gets it back infield. Rodri joins it on the run. Cucurella now coming from left back. Baena stays out wide. It's a no. I thought it's not going to be a first-time cross. He pulls it back. This is Rodri. Rodri hits it left-footed on the rise. Goal kick off target. 3-0.
For the chances that they have taken, they have been slightly wasteful in areas like that. We've seen Yamal put one over the bar, Rodri over the bar that time, Pedro Porro a couple of times. They've got in some really good positions, Spain.
Well, happy Father's Day to all the dads who are listening on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Did you get anything nice today?
Well, funny enough, you bring that up because I received some cookies that were sent to my hotel room, and like a good old team player, I've brought the cookies and we'll be having them at half-time.
Well, my 2 eldest children sent me breakfast to the hotel this morning. They sent me coffee and an omelette to the hotel this morning, and then she realised that it was an early kick-off here in the States and I wasn't there.
But I also know what your youngest William got you, and I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, as here is Porro, right-hand side, Yamal, touched there by Pedri as it goes back to Kubasi. What did young William get you?
A Buzz Lightyear card and some Lightning McQueen socks. No, I haven't got them on.
Damn. Here is the red of Spain. In stoppage time here in Atlanta, leading 3-0. Been a very, very enjoyable game to watch. In fact, I'll rephrase that. It's been a very enjoyable Spanish performance to watch. Here is Rodri. Pedri. Challenge comes in. Everybody in white just back behind the ball. Baena able to turn, left corner of the area, back inside to Pedri. Baena's continued the run. He's then created space for Cucurella out wide. Cross takes a deflection behind. They've just been given the run around, Saudi Arabia.
They're doing it exactly how they want, Spain. They've got the game at their own pace. They turn the tempo up when they want, they'll keep possession when they want, and they'll just pick the pass, pick the run. They have, as I say, you run out of superlatives. They really have been very, very good. But the opposition haven't put up any type of a fight against them. I've been disappointed with the way that Saudi Arabia have set up, and they've been so submissive. Corner
to the edge of the area, chipped in by Yamal, headed out by Al Amri. Potential break for Saudi Arabia, being led by Salam Al Dosari. Shows good balance actually to get the ball out to Al Harbi, the left back, but look at the player who's coming back to stop the run. It's not a defender, it's Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, they're working extremely hard as Spain, both with and without the ball. They haven't had to work too hard without the ball, but in that situation there you can see they're just as keen to keep the clean sheet as they are to score goals. Been very, very impressive performance.
Lajami is going to take the throw. It's going to be a long one that he hauls in towards the penalty area. Cleared, edge of the area. Salam Al Dosari has a go, volleyed away by Rodri. Plenty of distance on that. Up towards Oyarzabal, who's got 2 of the 3 goals for Spain. Here is Al Harbi. Little touch in field by Salam Al Dosari. And now only because Spain have dropped off, are Saudi Arabia actually getting a sustained spell on possession, but it's because Spain are allowing them to do so.
Yeah, that was better from Saudi Arabia. They got the ball forward and a long throw in there, and they should use the set play option more often because they are a big, tall, physical side. The 3 central defenders.
We'll be getting the thoughts of Guillaume Balaguer at half-time then here in Atlanta. We're into 5 minutes, a minimum of 5 minutes in this stoppage time of the first half. And Spain are 3-0 up. Rodri passes the ball forward. Pedri runs with it, out towards Alex Baena, cuts inside, back towards Pedri, back towards Baena, nicely worked again. Oyarzabal just slightly behind him. He went with a left-footed volley, and it was a tame effort. Actually caught a Saudi player in the process. It was easily picked up by the goalkeeper, Alaouez.
Yeah, good play again. Pedri and Baena, very intricate 1-2s around the edge of the box, working the ball into the box, just couldn't quite get his shot away. Oyarzabal. Salam Al Dosari, the captain for Saudi Arabia, gets back and puts in the challenge, just puts off the Spanish striker as he's about to pull the trigger.
They drew that opening game against Uruguay. It's their 7th World Cup appearance. They've never gone unbeaten in their first 2 opening group matches for Saudi Arabia, and the writing was on the wall as early as the 10th minute when Yamal scored. And then they added another 2 within the next 14 minutes as well. They've hit the crossbar. Alois has made a couple of other good saves. The margin of victory could be, well, the margin could be so greater. But as it is at half-time, they lead 3-0, Paul Robinson.
Yeah, they've been very, very good of Spain. The way that they played in the first game against Cape Verde, the manager, Luis de la Fuente, will have worked on the training ground. He'll have told them about moving the ball quicker, working through the lines, getting forward and taking your chances, and they've done all of the above.
So half-time in Atlanta. It's cookie time for some. 3-0 that Spain leads Saudi Arabia.
Ian, thank you so much. Paul, stick around. We don't go to the cookies just yet. I want to chat to you about Saudi Arabia, but let's bring in Guillem Balaguer.
The cookies are already on the desk.
Fair. I mean, I'm not surprised one bit. Let's bring in Guillem Balaguer. Guillem, I mean, the Saudi defending a mess, but unlike the Cape Verde game, Spain are just taking their chances. They're clinical.
Yes, and they started moving the ball much quicker. There was a lot of movement. There was a lot of hunger. There was the impression that they had left themselves in a vulnerable position, and they were not what we saw against Cabo Verde. So it was all about, okay, what are we about? Being aggressive. That means when you have the ball, running behind. Make runs even if you don't get found. If you lose the ball, get it quickly. And I think we are the team that has recovered most possession quickly in the whole of the World Cup. Okay, that's part of our essence. What else? This is Lamine Yamal's team. Lamine had the first dribble. I think he had the first shoot. And it dictates what happens. So after 3-0, he's exhausted, by the way. I don't think he'll play the second half. But after the 3-0, everybody was looking at him. What do we do? And there was a counter, the possibility of a counter. Olmo running with the ball on his own, and sees Lamine say, no, we're not going to go for it. Okay. So he's the boss, and also has got the energy, not a lot, but the energy to run back, as Ian was describing, to actually stop a counter-attack of Saudi Arabia. So those are the 3 or 4 things that we do. And then Oyarzabal quietly becomes one of the best goal scorers in the history of Spain, and just generally a team that has clicked at the right time.
Paul, in terms of Saudi Arabia, I mean, we saw them defend so aggressively in that game against Uruguay. I think the major difference here is that Spain are playing. Spain have got the ball on the deck. They're mixing up, they're passing, whereas Saudi was so dominant in the air against Uruguay, and that was the basis of what they were doing. They're restricting those efforts to long shots. This is a completely different test, and they've been undone so quickly.
Yeah, the back 5 really hasn't worked from them. And when they go 1 down that early on in the game, they had no plan B. And they were just so submissive with the possession. The Saudi Arabian team sat on the edge of their own box, playing in a back 5 with the through midfielders sat really deep in front of the back 5. And as I say, George Donis said when he came in, he thinks that he's got the players in this squad that would suit a back 5 system, but he can't play it yet because none of them play it or understand it at club level. And I think this is one of the first times that he's obviously used it in a competitive game. And they look like a team that have never played in this shape or system. And he changed it briefly back to a 4 after the hydration break, but again they're dropping into a 5 again, and they've got no real foothold in this game, and Spain just haven't given them the opportunity to get anything from this game.
Yeah, make sure you get a cookie, okay?
No cookies, no cookies. All right, a cookie then to celebrate. Okay.
Guillem Balaguer, Paul Robinson, and the Cookie Monster Ian Dennis back for the second half shortly. This is 5 Live Sport from the BBC. That's the first of 3 commentaries we're bringing you this Sunday. Of course, we have more in the early hours of tomorrow morning, and we'll be back for the second half in Atlanta after the latest news here on BBC Radio 5 Live, read for you by Nick Hatfield.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Thank you, Aaron. Good afternoon. Signs are growing that Sir Keir Starmer could set out a plan to stand down as Prime Minister as early as tomorrow. He's been under pressure from Labour colleagues following Andy Burnham's return to Westminster. The Business Secretary, Peter Carl, told the BBC Sir Keir would always do what's in the country's best interest. Our political correspondent is Joe Pike.
Everything I've heard from senior figures in government points to one probable eventuality, that the man who arrived in Downing Street victorious less than 2 years ago may soon be going in the opposite direction, his authority drained away. Many in Labour are now not talking about Keir Starmer, but about who and what comes next.
The train driver who died in Friday's crash near Bedford has been named as Sean Burton, who was 60 years old. 100 people were injured when 2 East Midlands services collided. Police say 28 people are still in hospital, including 9 in a critical condition. A first round of peace talks between the US and Iran has taken place in Switzerland. The American Vice President, J.D. Vance, called the meeting historic. Iran, though, is reported to have refused to discuss the future of its nuclear program until Israel stops its attacks in Lebanon. A 32-year-old man from Syria has been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter after a woman died attempting to cross the channel in a small boat yesterday. She was found unresponsive in a dinghy carrying more than 90 people and died despite medical treatment. And the Met Office has issued an amber warning for extreme heat from the early hours of tomorrow morning, covering much of southern and eastern England and some parts of Wales. From Wednesday, the warning's extended to most of Wales, Greater Manchester, Lancashire and Yorkshire. Temperatures could top 38 Celsius. Dr. Samantha Burgess is a climate scientist.
Weather is the cause of heat waves, and we've always had heat waves, but climate change is making them hotter, making them more frequent, and making them last longer. So they're more intense than they used to be. They're happening earlier and later in the year. So we saw the intense heat wave in May of this year, and they're happening over longer periods as well.
That's the climate scientist, Dr. Samantha Burgess.
Welcome to the Wayne Rooney Show. We're joined by Wayne Rooney.
Today we're joined by a very special guest, Gael Clichy.
The handball that sent us to the World Cup. Maradona was good because of
I think it's important for people in your position to give back. Not everyone does.
I just feel that you've been put into a position. None of been.
Business empires behind the most. Welcome to Off the Pitch, the podcast that breaks down the business empires behind the most influential and key people in the world of sport. Today we are joined by none other than Rio Ferdinand. Rio,
how you doing?
Thank you for being here.
Right, thank you.
How
Pleasure.
are you?
Feel privileged to be here, man.
Yeah?
I've watched you for a long time, so it's nice to actually see you in person.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot coming from you. We're going to dive into your empire today, your motivations, how you got to this part of your career and your life. But before we get there, I'm just fascinated. I grew up in South London. You're a South London boy yourself, but you recently moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
What is it that took you here?
Adventure. I've said numerous times now that I've been governed by a football fixture list for the last 35 years or so. And I've not really had much freedom in terms of like my personal life. Everything's just been, even if I've had time off, I'm gearing towards playing football in some capacity, training or whatever. So I got to a point where it was the right time family-wise. And there aren't many times you get to make a choice like that and go, right, let's go. And it came and I was like, you know what? Let's just go and see what it's like, man. And I'm loving every minute of it. It's a unique situation. But it's one that we're enjoying. There's things that are a bit difficult at times, but it's been, I think for me, it's been a really, really lovely transition.
It's amazing to hear. The time zone here obviously is different to the UK.
Yeah.
A weekday Champions League night starts at 8 p.m. in the UK. It now starts at midnight here.
That's the killer.
Are you a nocturnal owl now, or are you watching less sport than you used to?
I've had to just change the way I watch football. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to bed a lot later, but then I try and work my days out the following day to have less to do on those days. But yeah, listen, I've got to watch the football. It's just part of my life. I might have moved away, but the football's still a huge part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Rio, we have the Rio Ferdinand Foundation. We have Rio Ferdinand Presents. We have the New Era Agency. We have your investments. You're an investor. We're going to get into all of those today. But before we do, I'm just fascinated by you and your career. You're building a business empire right now. I see it in plain sight. Did you always know you're going to be in this position, or were you in those QPR changing rooms thinking, flipping out, I need to do something else?
No, you know what? I've always been a bit of a. When I look back on my life, I've never wanted to be pigeonholed. I've never wanted to be someone. I never felt comfortable where someone could just put me in a box and leave me. And I almost took it as an insult and said that that's you and that's what you got to stick to. I was always curious as a kid. I was always wanting. Like I've always talked about. I've done ballet as a kid from South London. You know, it's like from South London on the estate to pick to go to ballet in like one of the top 2 ballet schools in London, like in the poshest place with the poshest kids, Russian teacher, like that's not something that's quite normal to do. Do you know what I mean? But because I'm curious, I want to test the boundaries and push the envelope a little bit, and that's the way I've been all the way through my life, in whether it's football, business, and so. See, I was always preparing for when I retired. Like I had an online magazine, won awards, digital online magazine before anyone was really doing that stuff. Interviewing the likes of 50 Cent, Roger Federer the day after he won, broke the record at Wimbledon, LeBron James, Will Smith, Drake. Like I was still playing these times. So, but I was always thinking about maybe that puts me in an area where people can see that I can hold a conversation, I can do an interview, I can build a magazine with a team that I put together. And I always thought that when I retire, I want options. As long as I had options when I retired, and I'm in a good place. I didn't want to retire and be reactive to retirement and think, shit, what am I going to do? Like, so doing that and being part of an agency with a view to being an owner when I retire, those types of things were like, they were calculated things. It wasn't like I was falling on those things. Starting a restaurant, I want to know how a restaurant works. Can it make money? Do you know what I mean? Is it like Jamie Oliver opens up next door, crisis meeting. A year later, actually, it's the best thing that could have happened to us because it drives footfall.
Attention.
Like just that, all of those little things, just understanding and working out for when I retire and I've got more time, I've got some experience. Because I didn't want to be learning when I want to be earning. If you know what I mean. I wanted to, while I was playing football, just do a couple of subtle things here and there to learn about certain things. So when I get to the point where I can put all my energy into it, I'm ready.
Well, perfect segue. Chapter 1 is called The Empire Now. And we'll start with the Rio Ferdinand Foundation. Through researching this conversation, your foundation just kept coming back. So far, the foundation has helped over 10,000 kids find pathways, build skills, find employment. Why was it important to begin the foundation for you?
My mum was a huge community person, helping other, especially single-parent families on the estate I grew up on. But she just had a heart of gold and wanted to help others. My dad the same in a different way, but my mum was very much community-based and driven, and I just saw that. And so that was just an extension of really what my mum was doing. And I not obliged, but I just felt I had to do something like that. Where I'm from, as you know, opportunities, they aren't just being thrown at you, do you know what I mean? So you've got to find I was lucky I played football, and it's doing something where my ability made it like almost impossible for people not to notice me. So that's a very fortunate position to be in, as much as you've got hard work hard at it. So being able to create opportunities for people that come from backgrounds like where I grew up is something that I was never ever going to be able to forget. My conscience would never be clear or clean today if I hadn't started a foundation.
Is there a story that stayed with you from the foundation that like reminds you why this work matters, one that you can give me?
I done a talk at this event, and for about, I think it was about 150 people. And when I walked out, I don't know why, but this young lady, she caught my eye on the way out, and something drew me to her. So I walked over to her and I said, "You okay?" She looked really kind of solemn, a little bit, not moody, but just a little bit emotional. I said, "Are you okay?" She went, yeah. She went, "I'm sorry." She just kept apologising. "Can I just speak to you for 1 second? I won't take up any of your time." I said, "Yeah, cool. What's wrong?" She went, "I'm part of your foundation, and I'm here because of you. And what you do, you don't realise." And she just started explaining how important the work that we do as a foundation is, how impactful it is. And I know how impactful it is and how good the work we do, and the team behind me is amazing. But when someone hits you in your chest like that in front of a lot of people and she's crying and she's trying to hold herself together, I was like, right, I was emotional, and I was like, well, this is exactly why we do this, because she was a young, desperate girl who needed some help and guidance, and my foundation got hold of her, got her to a position where she's now got a job and she's working constantly all the time. And it's like even the partnerships that we do. Listen, they're all great partnerships, but one of the ones that means a lot to me is the one with Ralph Lauren. Because I couldn't walk into Ralph Lauren when I was a kid because the security would stop me. Because I didn't dress the right way. And me and my friends looked a bit raggedy. So the security guard, who probably was from the areas where I was from, was saying, no, you can't get in. So to have my foundation doing work with Ralph Lauren, and then after the work that they do for, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks, they have an opportunity to get employment. And we've got kids now working within Ralph Lauren. Like, that is a mad moment for me.
You think it's important for people in your position to give back? Not everyone does.
I just feel that you've been put into a position. None of us played football to be put in this position where we didn't think about helping others when we were starting out and walking with our mates for 20 minutes, half an hour to go to play football. But once you're here, it's like, okay, I've got the leverage, I've got the eyeballs and attention. I've got to do something with it because it's a waste otherwise. You know what I mean? So that's the way I feel. But not everyone, I don't look down on no one who don't do it. It's their prerogative, you know what I mean? But everyone looks at life differently and does things differently. This is just my calling.
Rio Ferdinand Presents. You were the A mic on BT Sport and of course TNT Sport for a long time, several years. You did that whilst building a very big YouTube presence alongside it. I'd often see you report on games on TV and then a few hours later have your opinion on YouTube as well. And I'd watch both. Tell me the differences between the two.
Well, one's live. One's absolutely live with TNT stroke BT, which I loved every minute of it. It was amazing traveling around with all the guys, the ladies, all of the reporters, the people behind the scenes that no one would ever know who they are, but people that just made it tick there. I think it was the inner workings of that show, but the people as well that you see on the TV. It was just like a team again. Do you know? I mean, because you come out of a team sport, all I've done is teamwork. To go into a life after football and work somewhere where you could call a team again.
Baena to the left.
Was a bit of a safety net that I fell into, which was nice. So we were travelling around Europe the nights before the games, man. Some of the best moments because you're having a drink in the bar, having a bit of food with each other, a bit of banter, etc. Go to bed ready right for the game. Do you know what I mean? So, or stay up after the game and have a few. Madrid was always a great one. Steve McManaman knew everybody there, free bar. It was always good. But
their red shirts and navy shorts with a game ready to restart, knowing that the 3 points are already secure, Paul.
Yeah, they've done all the hard work in the first half. The Spanish team gives the manager an opportunity to make those changes at half-time, freshen them up, manage the players' minutes going forward in the tournament. And he'll want more of the same, though, the manager.
And also for Spain, after that hamstring injury for Lamine Yamal, it just gives them an opportunity to give him 45 minutes to build up his match minutes, build up his fitness, and manage him ever so carefully. And it means that then he, with the job done, can then rest for the final group game against Uruguay in Guadalajara next Friday. Saudi Arabia will try and keep the score down, because with that opening point, should they beat Cape Verde and then finish on 4 points, you would think they've still got an opportunity to progress. They're on the attack now, but offside against Al-Harbi, and it'll be a free kick to Spain. Paul.
Slight shape change for the Saudi Arabians, with Hamdan coming on the pitch. He's a big, tall striker, imposing striker, but he's another one of the players that I mentioned at the start of the show. He doesn't play very often. He plays at Al Nassr, where he's behind Cristiano Ronaldo and João Felix, two of the league's best players and top scorers. So Hamdan is very much used in a substitute role, and he brings something different. That means that Al Burkan will come to this right-hand side and Al Dawsari will be on the left. So they'll have a three-pronged attack when they're in the possession, but they've got to try and get the ball to these players.
Paul Robinson, who knows a lot of them so well, as he acts as a pundit in the covering the Saudi Pro League, as well as working for us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is Rodri outside the centre circle. Short diagonal ball, lovely little turn and take by Olmo. This is Jeremy. Crystal Palace, of course, with every outfield player in the Saudi half. Baena on this near side, the left, level with the area. Pedri collects it at a walking pace. chips the ball out wide. There are two red shirts, right corner of the area. Porro to deliver the cross over the head of Torres, and out it goes for a corner kick. After the corner, we're going to bring in Guillaume Balaguer, who's with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live as well, watching on, because Spain already just settling into an early rhythm in the second half after that dominant first half performance, much to the delight of everybody wearing a red replica jersey inside this Atlanta stadium with a capacity of 71,000. The referee's just spotted a little bit. That's Rafael Claus of Brazil. Bit of a talking to. I think it was Laporte and Al-Amri who were jostling for position. The referee watches on. Corner kick to be taken. Baena in swinger, headed out. Force the Cucurella, it's got in. It'll go down as an own goal because the goalkeeper kept it out. But there was an unfortunate ricochet, and I'm sure that will go down as a Saudi Arabia own goal. But Cucurella, meanwhile, will take all the plaudits, as that is a fourth goal for Spain early in the second half. 4-0.
Oh, it's such a simple set play. The Saudi Arabian team, they mark zonally, and Spain are clever. They load up the front post. The ball goes to the far post. There's nobody anywhere near Marc Cucurella.
Tambati, wasn't it?
It's Hassan Al-Tambati. It comes off in the end. It's a good strike from Cucurella off the goalkeeper. And he's actually very unlucky as Al-Tambati, because the goalkeeper fires it at him from close range. It deflects off his own player and ends up in the back of the Saudi Arabian net once again. You see the manager's face down there on the dugout. It's the worst possible start for the second half for Saudi Arabia. But once again, the Spanish bandwagon just keeps going.
Cucurella has only scored one goal, and he was unable to. That was never ever going to stand as one of his. That was against Bulgaria in September of 2025 for the now Real Madrid player. He'll get the assist, and as it is now shown again on the giant screens that are suspended above the pitch, high up in the roof here in Atlanta, Hassan Al-Tambati is the unfortunate player with that ricochet, as Spain increase their lead.
He is unlucky as well, isn't he? I mean, there's absolutely nothing he can do whatsoever. Cucurella has hit the ball at pace, the goalkeeper's made the block, and it's come back at Tambati from 2 or 3 yards away from his goalkeeper. There's not a lot he can do with it other than alter his position in the first place.
Guillaume, we spoke earlier in the first half about having the luxury of the scoreline for Spain to rest players. Oyarzabal, who scored 2 in the first half, I noticed that you said he scored 14 goals now in his 16 starts. He really has cemented that position, hasn't he, as the central striker for Spain?
Yeah, this is since he scored against England. So this is since the Euros he has become the reference point up front. So he needs the rest. In the case of Lamine, he probably will play now 60 minutes against Uruguay and keep building the match fitness. But everything that has happened today has worked for Spain. Luis de la Fuente made Pedri a little bit deeper next to Rodri, so it was easier for him to see the opposite goal in front of him, instead of when he played as a number 10 against Capo Verde, no space. It's not really his role. That's almost role, and he's doing it very, very well. Porro understood very well his role next to Lamine, and everything worked. Now you got the opportunity of keep pushing with 2 new players with new energies and the intention of making an impact.
Guillaume Balaguer with the insight on BBC Radio 5 Live, as the Spanish supporters behind that goal that they are attacking in what is a disjointed stadium. It's certainly impressive, but like the stands on the far side, 2 of the stands are set back a little bit. That one behind the goal is a single-tiered stand, but it is only 2/3. Does it go halfway up towards the walkways, where you've got the escalators that will take you up to those walkways? A number of supporters actually standing in front of where the glass panels are, so you can see outside the stadium as well. And then you can actually see a lot of the giant concourse away, where there's a little of a gap in that stand away to our left. But the roof for consistency is closed, despite the muggy conditions outside, as the ball is hit forward. And Porro is onto this. Porro inside the area makes the save from Alois. The header forward from Torres. is then caught as Alois makes the double save, diving away towards his right.
It was a brilliant ball from Kubasi, the central defender. He found his defensive partner, Pedro Porro, the third man run from deep. Porro found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper, opened up once again far too easily for them. Porro fires it across Alois, but this time the goalkeeper makes a decent save. And Ferran Torres was there for the rebound with a head, but just couldn't get any power on it. The ball was just slightly too high for him. But so easy for Spain. One ball through.
Spain, who've won all 3 previous meetings with Saudi Arabia, including the meeting in the 2006 World Cup. It was 1-0 in the group stages. It was the final group game in Kaiserslautern. Spain topped the group, Saudis finished bottom, and Spain are looking to top the group here in 2026 in Group H, as they are 4-0 up against Saudi Arabia and looking hungry for more goals. Olmo running into space, being tracked by Al Hamdan out towards the far side. And Yeremy of Crystal Palace, 51 appearances and 5 goals in another excellent season for Crystal Palace. As Cucurella now on this near side, the left for Spain, swings over the cross, and eventually the little flick clearance by Al Amri. Rodri, though, will pick up that ball midway through the Saudi half. Porro towards Olmo, the instant layoff, and it required the interception from Al Harbi as Porro tries to win it back but gives away a free kick in the process. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, the match has taken the shape exactly how it did in the first half. Complete dominance from Spain. And just looking down at the squad there, and you look down at the bench, this is a squad that's packed full of experience, quality, and the manager has the option to bring players on off the bench, you know, game-changing players like he's done at half-time. He's brought 2 on already, and you look at the strength and depth that the Spanish squad have got, and Rodri sitting there in the middle of that midfield, anchoring the midfield, quietly, very effective.
Former England goalkeeper Paul Robinson, who is with us from Atlanta. He will, next time you'll hear him, it'll be part of our coverage with the England team in Boston on Tuesday. From 8 o'clock, you'll hear all of that in the build-up to that game against Ghana, after that impressive opening victory against Croatia. Spain have been impressive here, leading by 4-0, 5 live. Here is Pedri. Pedri looks to thread a ball through to Cucurella. With the aid of a deflection, it will reach him. He fires over the cross. Went wide, kept in play on the far side. This is Rodri once again. His awareness along the ground finds Pedri. Pedri looking to shoot, unable to do so. Passes the ball to Rodri. He'll go out wide. Porro with a cross, swings this one over. Cucurella can't get on the end of it. It'll run out towards the left-hand side. Baena runs into the penalty area, and then the challenge is made by Abdul Hamid. But again, they're unable to hang on to the ball, Saudi Arabia. And this is Pedri, a little touch back towards Rodri, still looking to try and pass the ball quickly.
The 2 wingers for Spain have been a real key to the attacking threat that they've got. Cucurella down one side, Porro on the other, overlapping, getting balls into the box. They've had 2 really good chances each in the game as well.
This is Cucurella, short diagonal ball to Rodri. Rodri then gives it back to Cucurella, level the penalty area, left-hand side, back towards Rodri once more. It will bypass Kubasi, it's picked up by Pedri, quickly passes the ball forward. Porro will give it him back. Pedri then waits, Porro makes the run, he tries to chip it forward towards him. Yeremy, actually, of Crystal Palace, this is his first time. He's making a debut in a major tournament for Spain. He was an unused squad member at the last World Cup in Qatar, and then he missed out at Euro 2024 because of an injury. He had an ACL. So coming on in this second half, making his first appearance at a major tournament for what is his 24th cap for the Crystal Palace player.
And he's played a lot of games as well, hasn't he, this season? You've got Crystal Palace going all the way in the European competition. I think he's played over 50 games this season. He's got himself some goals, 5 goals, 6 assists this season for Palace, and he's been a really good addition to that Crystal Palace side, who I must say I did enjoy watching at the end of the season in Leipzig.
Yeah, that success that they had in Europe means that they'll be playing in the Europa League next season. This is the FIFA World Cup. It is day 11, and the coverage will continue. Belgium, Iran at 8. Uruguay, Cape Verde at 11. That's also on BBC One a little later. And you heard from Andrew Murray at half-time. In between the football, we've got the final round of the US Open Golf to bring you as well on BBC Radio 5 Live. But 12 minutes into the second half, Spain are on easy street here in Atlanta for what is a lovely city. Said before in the commentary the other day, the birthplace of Coca-Cola. There is a striking Ferris wheel that is illuminated on a night that has been popular in Centennial Park, over 200 feet in downtown Atlanta. You spent a lot of time here, didn't you, last year?
I was here for a month. Yeah. Coming back, it was like a local. Yeah, lovely city, nice place, very, very welcoming. And they've taken to the football. Once again, I heard Dion talking at half-time about the stadium where he is today. And as he said, you know, we go to a lot of stadiums, we've played in a lot of stadiums, we've been to many stadiums, and it takes a lot to impress me with the football stadium. But this, just like Dallas, it's one of those, it takes your breath. You can't help but be amazed. I mean, some of this stuff is very Americanized with a hydration break, and at times it's not like football like we know it, but you cannot fail to be wowed by it. It is a huge, huge spectacle, and so impressively done.
Atlanta is also where CNN was launched back in 1980 with its 24/7 news coverage, and it certainly feels that 5 Live has that 24/7 as we try to bring you not just the football but the feeling of being out here in the United States. And a reminder that 1 till 3, breakfast in America on 5 Live in the afternoon, as well as Rick Edwards in LA. As here is Olmo's forward ball just outside the centre circle. But Saudi Arabia with Al-Tambakti clears it up towards Al-Brekan, unable to hang on to the ball on the halfway line. It's knocked high up in the air and it drops. And then the referee is given a foul, and that'll be a free kick to Spain.
Yeah, the pace has really dropped out of this game now. Spain in full control, controlling the tempo. As and when they want to go forward, they will. Saudi Arabia, again, similar to the first half, struggling to get any type of possession. No foothold whatsoever in the game.
The yellow card has been shown to Mohamed Kano, the substitute, the midfielder, by our Brazilian referee. He's caught Rodri in the face, and Rodri is the one who's still down as the physios are on to tend to the Manchester City player.
It didn't look much at all, did it? But Rodri seems to be in a bit of pain down there. I think he's caught him just right in the corner of his eye socket. It was just coming together. They both jumped for the ball, and Cano's arm went across Rodri's face. And it looked a bit inconspicuous, but it's clearly he's not happy, Rodri.
His 4 starts for Spain at the last World Cup in Qatar were all in the at centre-back. He's being helped to his feet now. They've made a couple of changes of Saudi Arabia, because Al-Brekan, the striker, has gone off, and it is Mohamed Abu Al-Shamat, the defender, who has replaced him. And then Al-Amri, who is the defender, has also gone off, and Ala Al-Hadji, who's a midfielder, has come on to replace him. A couple of changes, and Spain now are also going to make a couple of changes here as well as they lead 4-0. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, they've got the opportunity to do it now, Spain. Bang on the hour mark. The coaches have taken the opportunity to make the changes. I think Olmo is going to be one of them, coming off on this near side. Very good all-round performance. Hard to pick any fault with Spain today, really. I think the coach will be very, very, very pleased with what he's seen. Dominant performance.
The thing is as well about Al-Amri, who wasn't a yellow card, and they will not want him to be suspended, as Spain have made a couple of changes. Alex Baena, who's done well on that left-hand side, is being replaced. Nico Williams comes on to replace him on that left-hand side of the attack, and Mikel Merino was warming up as well, but at the moment they've just made just a one change. Oh yeah, Olmo is the player who's gone off. So Merino is on for Olmo, and Baena is off, and Nico Williams is on. Here is Ferran Torres, takes it onto the area. Torres still going, looks to get the shot away. He might, on the follow-through, have kicked Lajami. Lajami has stayed down. That'll be a free kick to Saudi Arabia. But we saw earlier on, because both Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, they're having to manage their minutes. Yamal got 45 minutes in for Nico Williams, who's had a hamstring problem. This is which he picked up in May. it's just a chance to give him now a run out of, what, 28 minutes?
Good opportunity for him to rotate his squad, use the players like we said, and it doesn't weaken them. Said about the Spain squad, the strength and depth that they have. You look at the players they're bringing on: Nico Williams, Mikel Merino, all players that would potentially start and could start games. Especially Nico Williams, he has had an injury-hit season.
And Olmo, who was outstanding at Euro 2024 with the Euro success that they had, he can then be rested. Merino comes on for this second half. He managed 19 minutes in that opening game, and now this is with Spain. And in fact, it's the first appearance at the World Cup for Nico Williams, as Pedri is challenged on the halfway line. He replaced Fabian in the first match for the Arsenal Premier League champion. Spain lead 4-0, 63 minutes played. This is Lajami, right to the centre circle for Saudi Arabia. Abdulhamid, the right back, in field. Ball flicked out wide by Al Shamat. Then at the back it goes. But never any jeopardy in this game whatsoever. Spain, from minute one, seized the initiative with the way that they started, got the opening goal after 10 minutes, and then have bossed it ever since.
Yeah, so very, very impressive, and they're completely controlling the tempo of this game. The pace has dropped out of it. I mean, it's been attack against defence for most of the game. Saudi Arabia tried, slightly changed the shape just after the half-time, played slightly more attacking, but they haven't ever got into this game. It's been very, very easy for Spain. It's a perfect game for De La Fuente.
Pedri with a header back to Cucurella. Ball thread through. This is Ferran Torres, he's onto it, he's guarded it wide. Alaves was quickly off his goal line, all in blue. Torres was so sharp, but the finish couldn't match the approach.
Once again, it's a straight ball through. Really quick piece of football. Nico Williams runs down the left-hand side, takes the defender away. Ferran Torres one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You've got to give the goalkeeper some credit in that situation. He hasn't read the through ball that well today, but he gets himself in a good position, and he forces him to poke it wide. Ferran Torres, but a good opportunity.
De La Fuente, who took charge in December 2022 after Luis Enrique had resigned after the last World Cup. He had success at youth level with the under-19s Euros, won the under-21 Euros, silver with the Olympic side as well, and then since the success in Berlin 2 years ago at the European Championship, has also added 2 Nation League trophy titles to a very impressive CV for the 65-year-old. His birthday today, and we are now in the 65th minute here in Atlanta, and Spain lead by 4-0. It's just a question now of whether they still want to match the desire levels that they've shown, or whether they want to play more within themselves.
Well, the substitutions are going to make the game disjointed. I mean, we have the hydration breaks as well, and so often we've said that the game hasn't really picked up the same type of tempo. It does disrupt it. But Spain, they're playing at walking pace at the moment. This game was won for them a long, long time ago. They're playing very much within themselves, getting players through the game, getting to the end of the game. And like I said, they're dominating that much. They're controlling the tempo. Basically, they're doing what they want.
Yeah.
They're that good.
Said we've got the golf to come later on in between the football in the 5th day of the second test at the Oval. England all out for 209, so New Zealand won that by 253 runs. And you might have heard earlier, Francisco Cerundolo winning the Queen's title as well in a final against Tommy Paul that lasted over 3 hours. The Argentinian, though, eventually prevailing. Tomorrow, Argentina are back in World Cup action, and we'll have that game for you live against Austria on 5 Live, as well as France versus Iraq on 5 Live, and then England-Ghana on Tuesday. The football just continues to keep on flowing on 5 Live at this World Cup. Here is Pedri, left side of the penalty area. 66 minutes played. Williams with a low ball in, and that was cut out by Lajami behind for a corner kick.
It's almost like both sets of players just want the final whistle. I think they'd both be very happy if it was blown now. The Saudi Arabian defence have been very overworked. Spanish attackers, they've certainly been able to work on some of their set plays and some of their moves. The intricacy, the passing through the lines has been superb from Spain.
Corner kick on this near side, the left. Red shirts, navy shorts. Nico Williams, the substitute, waiting to take it. And he just knocks it short. And then it's given back to him on this left-hand side. Pedri wanders over, swings over the cross. Rodri knocks it up in the air. It drops away from goal inside the area. And if that flags up on the far side, that will be a free kick to Saudi Arabia. And here comes the drinks break. It was interesting the other day, you know, that when they had Czech Republic, South Africa here, the drinks break was booed.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Right on cue. And it was exactly the same in Dallas by the England fans as well.
Once again, another adverse reaction to the drinks break at this World Cup. BBC Radio 5 Live, we can bring in Guillaume Balaguer, who's with us here in Atlanta. Your thoughts, Guillaume?
Can I just say about the break, it's changed football, and it hasn't been debated.
Well, they've got the four quarters. Well, they've got the 4 quarters, what they always wanted.
Which is fine. If you want to do that, and everybody agrees, fine. But this was introduced to the broadcasters, so they will know that this exists, and then there will be, you know, publicity, etc. But it changes football. In this occasion, it doesn't really matter. But for instance, against Cabo Verde, Spain, it broke a little bit their dynamism. Football is a dynamic game that you have to reach a certain level of pace in the movement, etc., and the feeling that you are in the zone, and then it goes like chop, gone. So anyway, just a little bit of mourning on that.
Do you know what, as well, that hasn't been debated? I don't think. I've not seen many managers talking about this. And Spain, this could affect Spain if they get to the final. The half-time break, if it's 25 minutes or half an hour, that is against the laws of the game. It's got to be 15 minutes. That is going to cause a massive problem for the players to actually have a delay of that long, is it not?
Delay, sorry.
If there's a half-time interval break for 25 minutes.
Oh, I see.
For the players to be sitting for 25 minutes, that's a problem.
I mean, as Paul here, but you are preparing yourself the whole of your life for a certain way of playing the game, and all of a sudden it has changed, or what you're saying, or what I'm saying. And as I said, if we all agree that that's the thing to do, if we all agree that the health of the players is at stake, that the managers agree, that the players agree, fine, but it has not been debated, it's been imposed on us.
Are you referring to the World Cup final?
Yeah.
We're thinking it's going to be 25 minutes, half an hour break at half time, aren't you? Yeah. And as a player, there's nothing worse than having to stay in the dressing room for that long. It's like when a kickoff's delayed before kickoff, you go out and you warm up, you get yourself ready, and then you have to obviously cool down, slow down, and then almost start again. It'd be interesting to see if the players will get a period at the start of that second half of 2-3 minutes where they can actually warm up again, because that's not how we play the game.
No, but it is against the laws of the game. Anyway, sorry about that, on the high horse. What about Spain's second half?
Yeah, managing the game, and that is fine, because Nico Williams, for instance, he thinks he's ready, but the scan shows that he's not 100% yet. So, all right, half an hour here. Lamine, he was destroyed, wasn't it, at the end? He can rest. He's only appeared in minute 65 of the game, which means that he's had some physio work, I imagine, to prepare for the next game. And apart from Lamine, every other player basically has got to fight for his place, because there is somebody as good as him who plays in the same position on the bench. So that's good for everyone. And we've been lucky for the fourth.
Yes. Thank you, Guillaume. Spain have made a change. The game is back underway. Fabian Ruiz has come on to replace Pedri, who actually did have a yellow card in the first game against Cape Verde. So had he picked up a yellow card, then he would have been suspended for the next match against Uruguay in Guadalajara next Friday. So he's managed to avoid that. So 20 minutes remaining, and Fabian Ruiz is on for what will be his first time at the World Cup. Played in the opening game, did well in the Euros. Fabian, 2 goals that he scored in at the Euros, and so Spain on that far side. Rodri, forward ball. This is an opportunity for Ferran Torres, but he couldn't control it, and he had Williams running in behind.
It's about concentration now for Spain. They'll want to keep that clean sheet, but also they'll add to their tally if they can. Entering the last 20 minutes of the game, they've managed the game well so far. It's about concentration, keeping a clean sheet and getting to the end.
Saudi Arabia all in white, playing from left to right, on the attack far side, but that attack is curbed by Rodri. His forward ball, Mikel Merino, challenge comes in on him, out it goes for a throw to Spain, over on that right-hand side. Here is Rodri, Kubasi. Little touch for Unai Simon, who's been nothing more than a pedestrian really for Spain. Spectator all in green as the ball goes to his right foot and controls it inside the 6-yard area under no pressure. They're playing the ball at the back. Here are Spain. 4 goals to the good. But it's a very, very gentle pace now where they have dropped off.
I think even we might manage at this pace. This is literally walking pace, isn't it? But what Spain are doing is they're very clever. They pick up some very good, intelligent positions on the pitch, and then they find their teammates very well.
Cross comes in from the right. Williams heads it towards Fabian, stabs it into the path of Cucurella, gives it back to Fabian Ruiz now over the halfway line. Williams collects it, left touch line midway through the Saudi half. Al Shamat made the challenge, and it will go out for a throw. The last 2 games for Spain actually were goalless. They'd never gone 3 successive goalless games in the previous 68 matches in all of the various editions of the World Cup. They had 49 shots against Morocco and Cape Verde, all to no avail in the previous 2. Well, they found that their shooting boots here today, even as Guillaume says, with a little bit of fortune for the 4th goal with an own goal. But they're on the attack again now on that right side. In it goes towards Fabian, sliding to clear the ball. In defence was Lajami, and gets plenty of distance on that. Paul Robinson.
They're trying to get out now, Saudi Arabia. They're trying to get higher up the field. That's the message from the manager down there on the touchline. He doesn't want them sitting off and defending. They haven't had as much defending to do as they did in the first half, Saudi Arabia, but that's because Spain haven't pushed their foot on the pedal or gone higher up the field. They have at times.
Saudi Arabia, the Green Falcons, who will be hosts of the World Cup in 2034. But as far as this World Cup, they've not arrived in any sort of momentum. Before today, they had drawn their last 2 against Senegal in the warm-up game and then Uruguay. And their only win in their previous 7 matches was against Puerto Rico. They are going to have to dust themselves down, because that very important game in Houston against Cape Verde, as it says, we've got a full house, 68,239 that is announced to the crowd here in Atlanta, and the majority of them are wearing red, and the majority of them have been excited to see Lamine Yamal and to see Spain.
Yeah, I've been disappointed with Saudi Arabia, the way that they've set up, the way that they've approached the game. Yes, you can't go open and expansive against Spain, but they really haven't laid a glove on them. They haven't gone forward, they haven't offered anything in possession, but they've just been defensive, and in that situation, not good enough.
Marino looks for the run of Porro, who applauds with his hands above his head as Al-Harbi made the sliding clearance. The Spanish supporters on that far side all rise to their feet as they get a glimpse of the Tottenham defender. He's recently signed a new deal at Tottenham Hotspur to 2031. On the other side of North London is Arsenal, of course, and there is Marino coming forward, but his last touch came off him, and it will be a Saudi Arabia throw deep inside their own half as they trail by 4 goals to 0.
It's a good signing for that Tottenham, for extending his contract, because there's a lot of talk about players leaving, but we've signed some good ones, haven't we? Keeping and we've signed some good ones as well.
Yeah, says the former Tottenham goalkeeper, Paul Robinson. With 14 minutes remaining of normal time, Rodri makes himself available. The ball then is played out to Cucurella on this near side, the left. Midway through the Spanish half, Williams is challenged from behind. Saudi Arabia picked the ball up in the midfield. Kano running back, and now Abdul Hamid, the right back, gives it short, diagonal ball back to Mohamed Kano on this near side, the right. Very rarely have they been able to get into the Spanish half. Al Hadji there gets a little touch as well. but this is because Spain are dropping off. They're not forcing Spain back. That's the key difference as the ball is headed out of play by Porro. Saudi Arabia throw, Paul.
They've made the changes, Saudi Arabia. Mohamed Kano coming on. He's a tall, imposing figure, but he's normally a defensive-minded midfielder. Quite often, his club that he plays for, he will sit in a defensive holding role.
Saudi Arabia battling for it with Al Hamdan on that far side. Cut back, easily dealt with by Kubasi. Kubasi, who is only 19 years of age. We talk about Lamine Yamal as a teenager. The Barcelona central defender, winning La Liga this year, 48 appearances. After making his debut for Spain at the age of 17, after just 12 games for Barca. You know, he's another one who we're going to be seeing at major tournaments in years to come, as well as Lamine Yamal.
I think you look at the blend of experience and youth that this Spain team have got. You know, they're going to be around for a while. It's a really good generation. You know, De La Fuente has a lot of talk about, you know, how long he'll stay for, but he's very well liked. You know, he's liked by his players, creates a good atmosphere.
This is Fabian, crosses from the left-hand side. Merino takes it on the chest, just outside the D of the penalty area, turns with his back to goal, does a full 360-degree turn, then gets a short ball back from Rodri, stumbles a little bit and runs into trouble and loses the ball. Potential break on for Saudi Arabia. Salim Al-Dossori running forward, holds on to it. Cano now in the midfield. And then they give it away, and Williams quickly onto that. This now is Jeremy, looking for Torres, who's ahead of him. Back towards Jeremy, but the white shirts are able to intercept. 12 minutes remaining. Still Spain lead by 4-0. Just adding that own goal from Al-Tambakti to the 3 that they scored in the first half from Lamine Yamal and the 2 for Oyarzabal.
It's almost like Spain have said to Saudi Arabia, it's okay, we've got enough now, you can have a little play with the ball. You've not had it for 79 minutes of the game. Mohamed Kano coming on, he will be a part of that, because he will look to sit and control the possession for the Saudi Arabian team.
Spain came into this game without a win in their last 4 matches at a World Cup, 3 draws and the defeat to Japan. It was a joint longest run between 1950 and 62. They beat Mexico. And then from 82 to 86, they returned to winning ways with a win against Northern Ireland. And here they have returned to winning ways with a handsome scoreline, or that will be a handsome scoreline whenever that final whistle sounds in the next 11 minutes or so of the normal time that remains. Plus stoppage time, of course, on BBC Radio 5 Live, with Belgium-Iran to come at 8 in the next matches on this conveyor belt. A little bit like those escalators. They're constantly on the move. Shot comes in from Al Hamdan, left-footed, easily saved by Unai Simon. The first save he's had to make.
Yep, he's got his gloves dirty, Spanish goalkeeper, and it was a substitute. Hamdan finds a little bit of space outside the edge of the box, hits it with his unfavoured left foot, doesn't get enough pace and power on the shot, doesn't really trust Unai Simon in the Spanish goal. But he's got his gloves on something, that's a first.
Dion Dublin will be with Conor McNamara for that Belgium-Iran game at 8 o'clock in LA. I think Dion was as excited about the stadium as the Spanish supporters here were at seeing Lamine Yamal. Have you been to that stadium in Los Angeles?
I haven't, and my schedule says that I won't be going to that stadium, so I hope Dion has a lovely time.
Fabian helps it forward. This is Nico Williams. Cucurella in support if he wants him on the overlap. Left corner of the area, teasing ball in, almost another own goal. Great reflex save by Mohamed Always, because he just had to, it would have been another one of Al-Tambakti as well. The ball was dropping from the left, and it's just bounced off the central defender. Always has made 4 or 5 excellent saves. Otherwise, Spain would have been looking at a record win in a World Cup.
I'm not sure what the central defender was doing there. Ball in from the left-hand side from Nico Williams, and he gets it all wrong. He gets his body shape all completely wrong at Al-Tambakti. He goes for it with his thigh, and it actually hits his hip and fires straight at the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper makes a really good reaction save to his right-hand side, because he certainly won't have expected that coming at him from Altambakhti's right hit, that's for sure.
Yeah, he reacted well, diving to his right-hand side. 8 minutes remain. Spain still lead 4-0. The noise inside the stadium is the Spanish supporters in pockets are jumping up and down. There is a beat of the drum somewhere as well inside the stadium. Everybody's just desperate to try and get on one of these giant screens above the pitch.
It's an impressive screen and it's an impressive stadium. Once again, the World Cup is the biggest show.
Ole, ole, ole inside Atlanta. That's the noise here in America on BBC Radio 5 Live. Sweeping around this stadium. More and more in red, jumping up and down now, swinging the, whether it be a shirt, a scarf or a flag around their heads. Saudi Arabia pass the ball out to this near side to right. 7 minutes remain of normal time. This is Al-Hadji in the midfield. Spain, they'll quickly win it back, although our referee from Brazil says there was a foul there. That'll be a free kick. Free kick to Saudi Arabia.
Foul in the middle of the pitch there, he just catches him, doesn't he? The Saudi Arabian captain, Al-Dawsri, gets there first. He gets an arm across the face. Referee gives him the free kick. He's had a very quiet game, Salim Al-Dawsri. He's a veteran of the game, very experienced player. Been at Al Hilal a long, long time. Had one loan spell at Villarreal, actually, and he played one game and then he soon returned back. He's almost a one-club man.
Donis is going to have to get these players back on track. He's spent nearly a decade coaching in Saudi Arabia, the former Blackburn man who finished his career in England in West Yorkshire at Huddersfield Town. It's only his 5th game, but still that match against Cape Verde could give them a route through to the knockout stages.
They're going to have to play better than they have today. I mean, he's changed the system 3 or 4 times within this game. They've gone back to a back 4 again now. The back 5 experiment in the first half didn't work. You look at his managerial record in Saudi Arabia, George Donis. He was at Al Khalij last season, which is a mid-table side. Really surprised at the sacking of the former manager Hervé Renard only in March before this tournament. And he's had a lot of work on, George Donis. And when I saw them play their first game, I thought, OK, you know, there's something there, there's something to work on. But they've offered very little to nothing going forward today. And defensively, they've been opened up far, far too easily too often, but by a good side.
Yeah, Renard was his 2nd spell in charge. He was sacked in April as Abdul Hamid delivers the cross from the right-hand side. Before that, you forget that Roberto Mancini had just over a year in charge of the Saudi national side. So he came in, as you said, Paul, 59 days before the World Cup began. And a great deal of time to try and work with players and to harness the group.
But there's a lot of players there that don't start for their club. There's a lot of players that play there and they play at big clubs. But you look at the strikers that we've got here. Albrickan, he's at Al Ahly, so he's second to Ivan Toney. Al Hamdan, who's come on, he's behind Ronaldo and João Felix. Al Shari, who's on the bench, you know, he's behind Karim Benzema last season. So these are players who don't play regularly and often as starters for their clubs. So he's got a big job on. They're a good, talented group of players, but they haven't showed that today.
That's the voice of Paul Robinson. BBC Radio 5 Live with 4 minutes remaining. Now there's a lot more activity in the stadium, because I think many now are thinking we're going to get away. We've seen Spain. We know what the result's going to be, and we're going to try and beat the traffic.
Do you know, that's one thing that I've noticed since being inside these stadiums. We all know what supporters have sacrificed to be here and the cost of things over here and the cost of tickets. Very few people rarely leave before the end. If you've paid what you have for a ticket, you're going to want to stay for the whole event. And the stadiums are such an event in themselves.
Well, Arthur Blank, who's the owner at Atlanta, he's been subsidising a lot of the not just the ticket prices, I think, but certainly he has for the fan-friendly pricing in the stadium. He wasn't into the price hikes. He wanted to make it fan-friendly for everybody, so it's very, very cheap actually for the food and beverages in this arena here in Atlanta, as there's been a clash of heads. Al-Hadji and Kano of the 2 Saudi Arabia players who are down and getting treatment. Paul?
Yeah, no real communication there from the 2 Saudi Arabian players. Both of them go up for the header in the middle of the pitch. The clash heads. I think Kano's come off the worst by the look of it down there.
After the game, we are heading to the busiest airport in the world as we go in our separate directions tonight. Because tomorrow, mentioned in the first half, France-Iraq from Philadelphia. I'll be in the company of Pat Nevin, while you head to Boston ahead of England-Ghana that you'll hear on 5 Live on Tuesday. Closing stages then here in Atlanta. And still, the physios are on, so we've got a lengthy delay. Guillem, what will the reaction be then in Spain to this, not just result, but the performance?
The media will be happy, of course. It's 4-0. It was the perfect game, a game that allowed players to gain some minutes, with Lamine scoring, with a little bit of luck, like in the 4th goal. And I think I can see Luis de la Fuente's face. He'll come with his half smile. He's a lovely guy, but he'll have his half smile saying, I told you. It was always going to happen, but you never know. And of course, when you know, Cabo Verde, not the most the toughest of rivals, and a 0-0 in our performance, and 5 days of nothing else to talk about, is where all the questions come about. But it was really, the media had the same analysis as the national side and the coaches. There was a lack of sharpness, there was a lack of intensity, there was a lack of bite, and there was a lack of balance in the lineup for a team that defended very deeply, even though, as Paul has been pointing out 100 times in this game, not very well. But yeah, it's happy days, and now of course the thought, as you can imagine, will go into Uruguay and the next thing. Winning the group will be better than not winning it, and perhaps faces Argentina in the next round.
Guillem Balaguer with us on BBC Radio 5 Live. Cano has been patched up. His head is bandaged with a black bandage that has gone round the head. I can just make out a bit of a white, bit of a swab that's also just sticking out, almost like a little feather, as they're going to make a change. And Khalid Al-Ghanam is going to come on, who is a forward, and the player who's going off is Nasser Al-Dassauri.
Yeah, a like-for-like change. Khalid Al-Ghanam plays his football at Etifak. He's a good, solid player.
Well, the 90 minutes are up, and we'll just see how much stoppage time there is to be added here, or it will be up in about 10 seconds. Players back underway. Spain lead by 4-0. It is a second half where Spain haven't created as many chances as the first half. They could have had further goals after that early own goal in the second period from Alton Bakhti, but they have, as a result, played a lot within themselves, because just conserving energy really, and there's only going to be 6 minutes of added on time ahead of that match against Uruguay next Friday. But Spain back to winning ways at a World Cup and leading 4-0, and certainly doing it in some style in that first half performance for Luis de la Fuente's side. This is Kubasi, Laporte, two central defenders, haven't really been forced to stretch too much and to turn. Merino gets a touch as well for Spain in their red, the navy shorts coming forward. Merino running with the ball on this near side, the left, level with the penalty area, ball played back towards Rodri, always looking to try and keep things ticking over in the midfield. Pedri, who's been alongside him likewise, ball from Porro, forward out towards Jeremy, far side the right, level the area, infield towards Fabian, Porro able to turn, and it's a tap-in, and Spain have got their 5th goal, and that was Ferran Torres, and it is another excellent goal, just what they can do if they want to turn up the heat. 5 goals for Spain on what has been an excellent performance, and in stoppage time it is the finishing touches from close range to an excellent all-round display.
Well crafted again. Craftsman at work, the Spanish team, putting up the Saudi Arabian defence. Intricate passing, Pedro Porro gets himself into the 18-yard box. I think VAR might have a little look at this one. Ferran Torres, to me, looks like he might have just strayed offside to the naked eye. It'll be close. He timed his run right or not. Pedro Porro's ball right across the 6-yard box. He couldn't miss Ferran Torres. We're just waiting to see if he's timed his run right, because it does look tight.
Nicolas Gallo, who is the VAR official from Colombia, will be having a look at it. Had he not applied the finishing touch, then Nico Williams was the one who was also running in, but there is a VAR check here in stoppage time. And
it did look close. It looked really close. It was an excellent ball from Pedro Porro. It really was. It had pace and direction. And Ferran Torres, whether he's just over eager and went in behind that Saudi Arabian defensive line. Easy finish for him. Tap in with his left foot. We're all lined up and ready to kick off, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go back for a free kick here.
the thing is that we're not actually getting a replay of it on the monitor.
We're getting nothing. It's semi-automated, isn't it? We're just, the referee sit down there, he's got his hand to his ear, just waiting. All we've got inside the stadium is the big screen saying VAR check goal.
But the delay is an indication as to how tight it is.
There's something, isn't there? There's definitely something amiss. I mean, to the naked eye, he did look off, but it's obviously very, very close because it is a long delay. We're getting to see a replay of it once again. Pedro Porro's great work. And when you see the freeze frame, as I say, to the naked eye, he looks off. But we shall see. That's what the technology's there for. We need to get decisions like this right. Although I'm not so sure at this stage of the game, with them being 4-0 up, unless the goals come into account later on, it's going to make too much difference to this game.
Yep. Well, still they're continuing to check. There was a behind Porro, a defender running back was the last line of defence. It would be that player who would be playing Ferran Torres on.
Yeah, he was certainly in behind the two middle centre-backs that were supposed to be picking him up. He was well the other side of those. It's just whether the full-back on the far side has picked him up or not. And as you can hear from the crowd's reaction, they're not overly keen on this VAR check.
No. There are hoots of derision, booing, whistling at the length of delay for this VAR check that you'd have thought with the automated offside that this would be a quicker decision.
I don't get why it's taken so long. We'd like to find out, though. The referee's going to address the stadium.
The number 7 of Spain has the offside position. The final decision, offside.
And the Spanish supporters continue to whistle, continue to boo, because they are not in favour of that decision, and the fifth goal does not stand, and Spain leads Saudi Arabia still 4-0.
It took a long time.
It did
really
take a
long time, that decision. I don't know why. I mean, it must have been tight. But yeah, that's a longer VAR check than I think we would normally expect from a semi-automated VAR offside decision.
So play is back underway. We are in the 5th minute of added time here in Atlanta. And Saudi Arabia coming forward on this near side, the right, looking for the run of Al Shamat, and Unai Simon puts the ball out of play for a throw. Saudi Arabia then have a throw with Abdul Hamid, the right back. Not much movement for the white shirts. Still he waits. Into the penalty area it goes. The flick-on header didn't come off, and then Rodri comfortably with the header back to Unai Simon.
Such an effective player, Rodri, isn't he? I mean, we talk about him all the time in the Premier League, how effective he is and how much his team misses him when he doesn't play. And I think when you see his role in this Spain team, it's very, very similar. With Pedri sat in there alongside him today, a slightly different shape change, but he's so effective, is Rodri.
Yeah, from the 4-3-3 where they started against Cape Verde, it's been a 4-2-3-1, and very, very effective in the first half for Spain as they went into a half-time lead by 3-0. Could have had more, as Laporte, formerly of Manchester City, 180 appearances and 12 goals in his 4.5 years at the Etihad. Here he is coming forward. That spell in Saudi, of course, as well, that we'd referenced. Now back with Athletic Bilbao in Spain, as Porro of Tottenham goes out to that right-hand side. Marino lay off towards Fabian. In the air with a switch of play out towards Williams, bounces onto the chest, and he's quickly on the attack. Left-hand side of the box now, edge of the area. This is Cucurella. Cucurella plays the ball slightly backward of square. This is for Pedri to come onto. He now finds Marino right corner of the area. Once again, they're starting to come forward. Can they find a fifth goal? Porro with a cross and the flick header away. And that is going to go out of play for a Spain throw. 4-0, Paul Robinson.
He's very effective as well. Pedro Porro in this side, given the licence to go forward. He's put some really good balls into the box. He had 1 or 2 opportunities himself. And they look dangerous from all angles to the Spanish side.
Still, the red shirts are in possession. 60% of the possession that they've had here in this game that they've completely controlled. Laporte casually strokes the ball forward. Cucurella then plays it out towards Williams on the left-hand side, and then the ball goes back. So they're just keeping the ball here in the closing stages. Laporte now will find Fabian, dropping into the centre circle over the halfway line. Left-footed, passes the diagonal ball out towards that right-hand side. Jeremy then continues to find Fabian, who's made the run ahead of him. This is Marino. Jeremy's made a run off the ball. Marino goes for an effort. That was blocked. And there indeed is the referee's whistle, and the full-time whistle sounds, and Spain impressively have got their first win at this World Cup in 2026. They have dispatched Saudi Arabia by 4-0. 3 goals in a 14-minute period in that first half. Lamine Yamal, and then 2 for Oyarzabal, and then an own goal early in the second half from Hassan Altanbakti. Paul Robinson.
They've been impressive all over the pitch, Spain. Defensively, they haven't really been able to show their capabilities, but certainly in an offensive sense, they've got so many players that can hurt you from different angles. It was fluid, it was quick, it was decisive, and they had this game won before half-time. The second half was like a training exercise for them, in all honesty. It was so easy for them. They kept possession, they went forward at will, they made the changes, they were managing to give players minutes. They've got so much quality, individuals and as a team, as a collective. The strength and depth that they've shown today as well. They haven't been tested, but every question that we asked after the Cape Verde game has been answered right out there today. They were very impressive.
There is a scenario, of course, in Group H where every team could finish on 4 points. But for the time being, Spain go to the top of Group H, and they've got Uruguay to come next Friday. But that first half in particular, they were purring. They've beaten Saudi Arabia by 4-0.
Ian, Paul, thank you. To quote Guillaume Balaguer after the first goal, Spain have arrived. A 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia. And Paul, for the World Cup attracts a different clientele of football fan. Maybe the fair weather football fan, the part-time football fan. For those who don't watch La Liga, introduce them to Lamine Yamal.
I mean, he's such a special talent. I think the most impressive thing is the talent and the experience that he's got at the age that he is. Still only 18 years of age at Barcelona. He'll be 19 in the week of the final. I mean, his progression and his level where he's at now, 24 goals and 18 assists this season for Barcelona. And you look at his impact that he has. He's the outlet. He's the ball that they look to in the first half when Ian said, as they were purring, he was the one right at the heart of that. Everything went through him. He was quick, he was incisive. He turned Al-Harbi, the fullback, inside out on numerous occasions. He's got so much confidence and so much quality. And by the way, he's absolutely adored by the Spanish fans.
Talking of Saudi Arabia, though, I mean, it was an absolute mess defensively. Tactically, though, an absolute disaster class.
Yeah, they were dismantled on many occasions. George Donis spoke in press conferences leading up to the tournament that he looked at these group of players. He's only had 59 days with them before the World Cup, and you look at the players that he's got, and he thought they suited a back-5 system. So he started with a back-5 today. They were so submissive. The early goal didn't help. I mean, that gives Spain the emphasis to go on and get more. But Saudi Arabia, they didn't offer anything going forward. You know, they were 2-3 down very quickly. Got to the first hydration break, he changed it to a back 4, went 4-4-2 like the players know that they play at the club level, and then again in the second half changed it to a 5. But by that time the game was done. They brought nothing to the party today, Saudi Arabia, but they played against a world-class team in Spain.
What went wrong for you?
Guillaume, talk to us about that performance from Spain. You talked about Luis de la Fuentes and the smile he